Testimony oath of presenters. Please be advised anyone that's here to present before Commissioners Court today that you are under oath before the Commissioners Court. 1.5 public comments. No public comments. You want to make a public comment? Go ahead, Commissioner.
Judge, on the landfill, we should be up and running sometime next week. We're going to start the training for the scale this week, and after that, we should be up and running. Also, I had gotten a call from constituents concerned that we had lost a grant for $2 million. I said, to my awareness, she stated that it was for Carrizono, and I said, we haven't. We didn't need it, but I'll ask and find out for you. So I did call Celine, and she said, no, we haven't. So just to let you know that it's not true.
1.6 approval of minutes of regular meeting of April 15th, 2024, and special meeting of April 22nd, 2024.
Subject to the corrected summary.
I have a motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Odena. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 2.1, an informational presentation by Sugarload Battery Energy Storage Project Site Technology by Redux Irido Energy.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge Ponce. Good morning, Commissioners.
Yeah,
Just this a little bit.
thank you.
No? A little too tall. Wonderful. Yes, good morning. My name is Christian Purvis. I am with a company named Redo Energy. My associate Chris Wallace is here as well, and we are a renewable energy development company. We're directors of development for ERCOT and for battery storage technology.
And what was his name?
His name is Chris
Chris.
Wallace. And we're here really for three purposes today. Number one would be to introduce our Sugarloaf battery project to Dimmit County. Two would be to discuss any permitting and approvals pathway that would be lined out by the county. And three would be to introduce the topic and seek permission to apply for any available tax incentives for our energy project. So today we did provide a presentation, and I wanted to time check and make sure that we had enough time to go through it. I was allotted 30 minutes, but I know you all have other business today, so I wanted to make sure that was still okay.
Less than 30 minutes.
Less than 30? Okay, we can do it. So like I mentioned, this is a battery energy storage project. Let me. Okay. This is a BEST project, battery energy storage systems, and we outlined like a little bit about battery technology, some industry trends, and then we'll get into the deep dive of our actual project site. Again, my name is Christian. I have about 10 years of experience of real estate development, renewable energy development throughout the country. And then my contact information, I'll leave it with you as well. It's my associate, Chris Wallace. He's been in the battery energy storage space for about 10 years, most recently with Tesla. And then he joined Redo within the last year. Redo Energy is a renewable energy development company. We really take an approach on utility scale solar, responsible solar development, and a big and growing piece of our business is the standalone battery technology that is as I'm sure you're aware, has come to Texas in full force and will continue to grow. We have a highly qualified team. We have about 40 people on staff. We're development focused, so we're early to mid-stage developers, and we partner with IPPs, independent power producers, in the late stage to actually construct and operate the project. We have an owner's mindset, so we always go into municipalities and counties feeling like an owner and operator and ensuring that you all see the value in the project. And then we are also well capitalized. We're backed by a company called Cathexis Holdings, which is based out of Houston and is owned by a fourth generation oil and gas owner named William Harris. And we are 100% oil and gas funded. This is a family office that wanted to diversify their revenues away from strictly oil and gas and also into renewable energy. A big part of our portfolio is in the ERCOT market. I would say maybe half of our megawatts of energy projects are in Texas alone. So it's a big market for us. This is just a quick slide on the industry growth. You can see from 2010 to 2023, across the entire nation, the mix of energy sources throughout by technology. You can see that in 2010, it was mostly natural gas and coal and a decent portion of wind. And then as we've progressed to the end of 2023, the dark red and gray portion at the top has become more and more. That's solar technology and battery. And I'm going to hand it over actually to Chris right now to talk about some battery technology.
Luckily, Christian figured out the microphone for me, so it's very kind of you. Hi again, Chris Wallace. So as we're deploying more solar technology on the grid, that kind of presents a problem. The sun only shines during the day. We like to use electricity all 24 hours a day. And so in addition to solar deployments, there's been an increasing number of battery energy storage deployments across the world. Here in the United States, we're really proud to be the global leader of battery energy storage technology deployments. We want to continue to do that. And right now, Texas is up there with California for the largest states in the United States in terms of battery storage deployments. Texas is very quickly overtaking California as the largest storage market in the United States, and therefore the largest market in the world. And projects like this are going to help accelerate that growth and let Texas take the top spot. So solar and storage have done a lot over the last couple of years to increase grid reliability across the United States. We're all pretty aware of what's been going on in Texas during winter storms and summer heat waves over the last couple of years, and there are a number of highly respected publications that have done a lot of research and issued articles talking about how these dune technologies have actually prevented more blackouts from happening. So Wall Street Journal, Texas Tribune, Houston Chronicle, Scientific American, Washington Post, they've all weighed in about how this technology can make the grid more reliable, more resilient, and prevent blackouts when we have extreme hot and cold weather, which we're seeing more commonly. Just a quick walkthrough of some utility scale battery energy storage system components. This is a photograph of a project just south of Houston called the Gambit Project. This was the first utility scale battery to come online in the state of Texas about 4 years ago. This is also the same size project that we're proposing here in Dimmit County, so this is an accurate representation of what you might expect to see at the project site south of Catalina. Inside the fence line there, you have about 3.5 acres, a number of battery containers, and a project substation, and then some leftover space for operations and maintenance crews. So this is a pretty large investment that we'd like to make in the county, but it would only occupy a pretty small footprint compared to other local improvements.
What's the size of that?
In terms of dollar amount, in terms of power and energy.
Size.
About 3.5 acres inside the wall that you see in this photograph. That's about the same size that we'd be looking for the project here. Quick walkthrough of components. So battery energy storage systems, they use lithium-ion battery cells. This is the same technology that we've been using in consumer electronics products for decades. Your cell phone, laptops, basically anything that doesn't plug into the wall these days uses lithium-ion technologies. This is very proven, very safe. It gets integrated into large containers that sit outside, and they're weatherproofed and they're designed to be fire safe. And then once you aggregate all those battery cells, you then need to step it up into a form of electricity that the grid can accept. So it goes through inverters and step-up transformers to connect to the transmission lines that run across the county and across the state. And that all occurs inside that same footprint that I showed a couple slides ago. And this is just a look at the substation that would be built in order to support the project as well. Again, this would be inside that same footprint. Batteries are becoming more and more safe over time. I'm sure we've all read some articles about how things can go the wrong way when people aren't thinking about these projects the right way, when they're cutting corners. The industry is really consolidated around a lot of safety standards that are now required for all battery technologies across the United States. Different certifications, UL listings that products have to adhere to. and safety standards that have to be designed up and tested very rigorously. In addition to that, most battery technology providers, like my former employer, work really closely with local first responders, fire departments to make sure that they're up to speed on the latest in industry trends, the latest of how to respond if an event should happen to keep everybody safe. And yeah, we'll bring Christian back up to give a quick overview of the Sugarloaf project itself.
Thanks, Chris. So this is our Sugarloaf battery project. By way of power rating, this would be a 100 megawatt project, which is what we consider to be a utility scale large project. For reference, I was checking the ERCOT queue. There is, I think, 2 other projects within Dimmit County that have filed with ERCOT for battery projects. One would be a 50 megawatt project, and then one would be another 100 megawatt project. I'm not sure if those developers have approached you all to discuss their projects, but those are in the queue in Dimmit County. So in terms of project location, as the crow flies, we're about 22 miles from where we're sitting now to the project site, which is south of Catarina by about 5 miles, and then just directly west of Highway 83. So about 22 miles as the crow flies. And then project overview, the project's name is Sugarloaf Battery Energy Storage System. We procured the land from a company called Black Mountain Energy, who actually owns this small substation over here, which directly abuts the larger QNCO substation, which is a 138 kV and is owned by AEP, American Electric Power. AEP is the transmission service provider in the area, and our POI's name is the P Ranch substation, so it'll be a direct connect from the battery system into that sub. We have a site control over about 30 buildable acres, and we have a 5-year option, purchase option with the owner of that land. So a lot of development for renewable energy and battery systems, it's done via option, and the reason for that is because a lot of the de-risking happens when you take site control, you file for interconnect, and the study phase is completely within the hands of ERCOT and the TSPs. So they got to go through a multi-year study to conduct 4 different studies to ensure that the project is feasible and that it's going to not have any negative impacts on the grid. There's appropriate capacity there. So that's why we ask our landowners for a long option period to ensure that the project can make it successfully through those studies and that we can de-risk the permitting and additional real estate development aspects. We actually have a kickoff call with AEP today. We're going to leave this meeting and go speak with them about starting the study phase, starting the first of those 4 studies. And then we have a generator interconnection number queue position that's been filed with ERCOT back in February of 2024. We like this project site for a number of reasons. This is a constrained part of the grid in South Texas. It's actually a very great place for a battery. And Chris is going to talk more about what the benefits of a battery are in a volatile area. But really this is going to serve existing oil and gas load that's directly around the area. We would expect, by way of timeline, that the construction would start in Q4 of 2026, and then short construction term of about a year, and in-service date of Q4 2027. This is a very illustrative, demonstrative example of what a property tax and personal tax projection could look like, and I only put this up here to discuss and broach the subject of economic tax incentives or any development package that we could apply for. This is a significant investment in the county. We don't know exactly what the numbers are until we do the full design and estimation, but ballpark about a $70 million investment. Being a commercial and industrial asset, it would depreciate over time, and so there'd be a personal tax rate and a property tax rate that would be assessed and appraised and assessed. And we're very aware of the Texas legislation of we can't apply for the 313 abatements, but we know that the county has ability to possibly abate under Chapter 312. And so we would be seeking any available pilots or abatements that you all would allow us permission to apply for. Again, timeline, development period, construction period, operation, talked about that. And then, Chris, if you want to talk about the benefits to the community.
from a high level, two main benefits. Not much of a lift from the county perspective. We as the development company and the long-term owners would like to invest in the county with that about $70 million fund amount that Christian was discussing. That would obviously contribute to the local school taxes without adding any headcount to the schools, so it would only be a benefit to the schools by not increasing the students but increasing their funding. It also would not be an impediment to existing infrastructure or local services on the county. It would just kind of be out in an existing oil well, sitting there, parked capital, contributing to the tax base. And then it would add some permanent construction jobs up front, maybe somewhere in the order of 15 to 30 construction jobs, and then a handful or so of permanent long-term operations and maintenance jobs for the project, people who are just there pretty much around the clock to make sure that it's operating safely and reliably. And then if you kind of zoom out, what does it do to the power grid, both locally and across the state? This would support regulation on the electric grid across the entire state of Texas, or I should say the ERCOT portion of Texas specifically. So if there's an increase in demand elsewhere in the state or here locally, or if a power plant trips offline, or if a cloud moves over a solar array, if the wind suddenly stops blowing, these types of battery projects can respond very quickly to make sure that the grid continues to operate within its safe frequency range of 60 hertz. And then locally, it can also support voltage swings that happen here in the Dimmit County local grid, which can cause local-only blackouts, not due to demand problems, but just due to any types of disruptions that might happen on the distribution and transmission network. So it can provide both statewide and local benefits to the power grid, while also contributing to the tax base.
Yeah, and just to add further clarity on that, we don't see these as big job stories. Ultimately, these are just temporary construction jobs that come to the county, and these assets by nature are not meant to create a lot of permanent jobs. These assets, in addition to solar facilities and wind facilities, are usually remotely operated these days from hundreds of miles away. So we like to be transparent up front that in terms of economic development, this is a tax base increase that contributes to the taxing authorities, and does create some temporary construction contracts and other jobs that might site maintenance or fencing or things like that, but it's not a big publishable story on job creation. Even though it is a very significant investment, $70 million to $100 million is typically a big project that you would think would bring a lot of jobs. So I just wanted to clarify that. And we do feel like this is the highest and best use for this underutilized acreage that directly abuts a substation. There's not much else that you could do with it beyond building a utility scale battery. And then, as Chris mentioned, this just doesn't add a lot of load to the ISDs or create any additional students, unlike a housing project would. So it's not drawing on a lot of city services and creating additional expense for you all. That really concludes our presentation. I think we did that in 19 minutes, so if there's a little bit of time for questions, we're open for it, and want to thank you for allowing us to come and present to you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you for the presentation. The mic is off, sorry. Anybody have any questions or comments? We will get your information, and my office will contact you in terms of having you guys come back in order for us to discuss or approve any permits or any discussion in terms of the tax abatement. We will have to get with our legal counsel in regards to that, and I will get with my auditor so that we can set something up. So if you would be so kind before you guys leave, drop off your contact information with my staff, and we will follow up.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Thompson.
2.2 is the adoption of the proclamation to declare May as Community Action Month. Mr. Garcia, do you have the proclamation? We do have the proclamation from the Community Action Month. Whereas the Community Council of South Central Texas was established as a community action agency on May 11, 1965, and whereas the service area encompasses the South Central, Southwest Texas counties of Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Dimmit, Edwards, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Carnes, Kendall, Kinney, Kerr, LaSalle, Live Oak, Maverick, McMullen, Medina, Real, Uvalde, Valverde, Wilson, Zavala, Terrell, Presidio, Beckles, Jeff Davis, Hudspeth, Culberson, Brewster, and Crane. And whereas Community Action has made essential contributions, to individuals and families across this nation by creating economic opportunities and strengthening communities. And whereas Community Action has made essential contributions to individuals and families in this nation, and whereas Community Action is a robust state and local force connecting people to life-changing services and creating pathways to prosperity in 99% of all American counties, and whereas Community Action builds and promotes economic stability as an essential aspect of enabling and enhancing stronger communities and stable homes, and whereas Community Action strategies and innovative solutions evolve and as a need of individuals and families and communities results for people and individuals. Whereas Community Action insists on community participation and involvement, ensuring that all sectors of the community have a voice and will be heard. And whereas Community Action is celebrating 60 years of innovation, impact, and providing open results for Americans, I, therefore, Judge Marta Alicia Gomez Ponce of Dimmit County, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 2024 as Community Action Month in recognition of the hard work and dedication in all Dimmit County and all community action agencies. I do the testimony whereof hereunto set my hand and cause by be affixed the Great Seal of Dimmit County on this 6th day of May 2024. (3.1) Approval of bonds. We do have two bonds. We have a bond for Dimmit County Deputy County Clerk Ms. Vanessa Rosas. And we also have a bond for Justice of the Peace Precinct 4 Ms. Marina Carmona. I will entertain a motion to approve the bonds as presented by the clerk's office. I have a motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Odena. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion, yes, sir.
I abstain on,
We have a unanimous vote for Vanessa Viastrigo Rosas, Mr. Garcia, and then we have majority Commissioner Urenda, myself, and Commissioner Rubalcaba voted for Mrs. Marina Carmona. We have one abstention for Ms. Marina Carmona, which is Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Excuse me. 3.2 is the discussion and appropriate action, you got that right, Mr. Garcia? 3.2 is the discussion and appropriate action approval to authorize county auditor to contact insurance regarding legal counsel for CLEAT requests.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Urenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.3, discussion and appropriate action to approve the resolution of Commissioners Court of Dimmit County, Texas, authorizing the submission of a Texas Historical Courthouse Preservation Round 8 Grant Program application to the Texas Historical Commission and authorizing the county judge to act as the county's executive officer and authorized representative in all matters pertaining to the county's participation in the reference grant program. Commissioners, as you know, we've been having many issues with the historical courthouse in terms of the elevator, in terms of the AC unit, in terms of some structural issues with certain walls in that courthouse. My office, in conjunction with the Office of Grants and Planning, has been very actively applying for this grant. It's the Preservation Round 8 grant program, and that particular program is a grant that is specifically applied to historical buildings, in essence, the historical courthouse here. And what this grant essentially will do is, if we qualify and are successful in applying for this grant, will allow Dimmit County to get funds provided by the Historical Commission, so that Dimmit County, our taxpayers, don't use funds from our general fund or our COs to refurbish, repair, and improve the courthouse. With that being said, in order for us to move forward with any of the grant process, we're looking at, I think it's about $700,000 that we're trying to apply for. I don't have the exact number with me right now. As you are aware, we did receive an email regarding us to the extent of the cost just for the AC unit itself for that historical courthouse, which is astronomical in my opinion. So this grant would help us not have to eat up the cost of having to use Dimmit County funds to pay for the AC units itself. That's not to even go into discussion with the elevator. So with that being said, I would kindly request a motion to approve me to move forward with applying for the grant for the historical courthouse.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Noguera.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Urenda. Any further discussion? You have the original, Mr. Garcia? I'll get it afterwards, no problem. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? This motion carries. 3.4, discussion and appropriate action, approval to use the Asherton, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm under the weather and tongue twisted today, but approval to use the Asherton Recreational Center for recreational volleyball in-depth athlete sports coaching. We do have a representative here, Mr. Avery Ramirez. Good morning, Mr. Ramirez.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Excuse me.
Thank you for allowing me the time to speak. My name is Ever Ramirez, and I recently turned 20 years old a month ago. A little about me: I graduated from Crystal Springs High School in 2022. I then attended Southwestern University in Georgetown, Texas last year to study and play football. I am now back home and I started a program called In-Depth Athlete, where I provide one-on-one coaching with the youth in multiple sports, including basketball, volleyball, track, football, and plenty more. The reason I'm here today is to clear any confusion and speak on the process that has been taking place with me bringing recreational volleyball to Crystal Springs, and not only for the children but the community as a whole, and being able to give locals a fun activity to look forward to twice a week. I recently had a meeting with Commissioner Rubalcaba on April 2nd, 2024, and discussed the usage of Ashton Recreational Center and complaints that were brought to her attention during Commissioners Court meeting on March 18th and April 2nd. The idea of the open gym for volleyball was first set in motion during the beginning of September 2023, when I first had a meeting with Commissioner Valerie Rubalcaba. The handouts provided to you in your packets show topics that were discussed with Commissioner Rubalcaba, titled First Meeting September 2023. If you could please turn to that page, I would like to read over the notes with you all. Volleyball in Ashton. All of Dimmit County is available to show up to play volleyball. Tractor tires could be used to hold the poles down for the net in order to accommodate usage of half the court. 7 to 9 is a good time that can be used since people work. Offered a solution to have volleyball on half court, leaving one side for basketball and one side for volleyball. Solution I offered was to paint volleyball lines to accommodate the half court reservation, which will allow both sports to be played at once. People not willing to show up to outdoor volleyball activities like sand volleyball and rather play indoor inside the rec center. When a travel team reserves gym days out of the week, it is not guaranteed that their teams will practice on those days. A volunteer coach told me that their team had not shown up to practice, which caused the closure of the gym to the general public to a team who was not practicing. The volleyball I set up is free on my own time and will bring more people to Ashton from other cities and counties to play volleyball. The day before the meeting, there were only 3 players to show up, shoot around, play a pickup game for less than an hour, and left at 8. The head coach was not able to show up. Builds a community in volleyball for Dimmit County, brings people not only from Dimmit County but other counties as well. My volleyball is not closed to a certain team or people, but open to anyone and everyone that wants to play basketball. Practice are closed to their team only, and no one of the public can join them to play. And also ideas of leagues and tournaments that could be able to be set up in the future. These notes were taken off old notes that I had prior to meeting with Ms. Rubalcaba. So everything that is on these notes has been talked about during that meeting on September, or at the beginning of September when I first started the idea. After understanding the idea, Commissioner spoke with the event coordinator at the time, Ms. Lupe, whom later had me meet with her to sign off on 3 hours that I was allowed to use the facility. I assigned 1 hour for younger children and the rest for adults in order to avoid a crossover of young players with the adults and avoid younger players getting hurt. The official first day was on Thursday, September 21st, 2023. I had purchased about $300 worth of equipment to include net, poles, and volleyballs, and after a few weeks, community volleyball became popular. Its outreach to our nearby communities increased the number of participants. Because this is very successful, I approached Ms. Lupe and requested and was allowed to utilize the center on Tuesdays as well. On the week of November 28, 2023, we began using the recreational center twice a week for 3 hours each day, 6 to 9. When a conflict arose with the basketball league that basketball teams were to start practicing, I received phone calls on January 4, 2024 from Melissa Medina and Commissioner Urenda, asking questions about the way I was using the facility and the time I was using it. While speaking with Commissioner Urenda, he stated that he understood that it was open to the community and stated that I would be able to keep the time I have as well as having the teams for the basketball practice around the same time. On March 7, 2024, the volleyball open gym was discussed during Commissioner's Court, during which there was confusion from Commissioners Carmona on the allowed time and the statement made by Commissioner Urenda that they, quote, they are using the basketball gym to play volleyball. Quote. I just want to mention that the recreational center is not just basketball and does in fact have lines for volleyball as well. This is not just a basketball facility. On April 2nd, Commissioner Rubalcaba stated to me that she was not aware that there were volleyball lines on the court until our meeting back in September 2023. I have provided pictures of the facility and the volleyball lines being used. If I understood correctly, the recreational facility is just that, for recreational use. It isn't just for basketball. This facility is utilized for baby showers, quinces, bingos, birthday parties, and other profitable rentals where alcohol is allowed. Why is the use for free community open volleyball gym in question? Can the community show up during open hours to play volleyball, or do they need to attend Commissioner's Court to be allowed to play? This is what it is intended for, recreational use. I have heard that Dimmit County has numerous basketball courts set up to be played at, to include the Ashton and Big Bowls Recreation Center. For the sport of volleyball, there is no facility where the public can play this sport. There is one sand volleyball pit that has not been maintained and has no equipment to be used. Even so, this is a completely different sport than indoor recreational volleyball. Sand volleyball is not an academic sport played in our schools, districts, but indoor recreational volleyball is taught and played in our academic program. April 1st was the day that 3 hours for volleyball was stripped down to only 1 hour, including a setup time and takedown time of 30 minutes. After the 30-minute setup and takedown time, 1 hour is still not enough time to play volleyball. An average game to 15 that is played is 15 to 20 minutes long, which leads to barely pushing 4 games being able to be played in that 1 hour. Which bears the question, is it even worth showing up to play at all? Once only a limited amount of players get to play at all. If you could please turn to the photos in your packet, taken during one of our open gym sessions, you will see the gym is full of players. Everyone is having a good time playing, and yet others are waiting for their opportunity to play. Community volley has proven in this short time to be a successful community activity. We had players from Walden, Eagle Pass, and Crystal City because they saw worth in traveling to our facility to play and bring some business to our local store and gas station. The idea I'd like to pitch to you all is to have a set available day solely for volleyball, because currently it is just open to basketball in order to coexist with basketball. For example, Monday will be for basketball, Tuesday will be for volleyball, Wednesday will be for basketball, Thursday will be for volleyball, and Friday will be for basketball. The set days for volleyball will allow the community to see worth in showing up to utilize the gym to play volleyball, as well as people from neighboring communities to see worth in using the recreational center for volleyball. Players from Walden, Eagle Pass, and Crystal City will travel because they see worth in using our facility for the amount of time that is available. Although it has been over a month that we have not used the facility for community volleyball, I am hopeful that the compliments and praises from our community, the enthusiasm from our local and our out-of-town players, we can help each other rebuild this service to the community. I have some public comments from individuals I would like to share to you. I can read them to you, or if you'd like, Judge or Commissioners, may you read them aloud.
We can take them under consideration. Do you have copies of those?
I have one here.
You can hand them to Mr. Garcia and we'll go through them.
If there are any questions or a discussion to be brought up about this, I am open to speak.
So, Mr. Ramirez, what you're asking the court is for you and your organization, which is the In-Depth Athlete Sports and Coaching, to utilize the facility, Asherton Rec Center, 2 days out of the week. Is that what you're asking for? And what are the times that you're asking to utilize it?
From 5 to 9 all day. Exactly how basketball is used for that facility, from 5 to 9 Monday through Friday, 5 to 9 for Tuesday and Thursday, or whatever days are available that you guys would like to.
Questions? Questions?
The paper that we got from him says 7 to 9 is a good time.
I wrote 6 to 9, but yes, you're on your on the document. I guess you used to utilize it. I suppose this says first meeting September 2023.
Yes, ma'am.
You were utilizing it from 7 to 9 p.m.
Yes, ma'am. That was when it first started. September, okay, when we first started the idea in September. The first started from 7 to 9. Before I had the meeting with Ms. Rubalcaba, and then after the meeting with Rubalcaba, I was allowed the 3 hours from 6 to 9 as well. And my request to you today is to have the full day to it for volleyball.
Other questions?
So what exactly, what days are you asking for? I'm confused.
Tuesdays and Thursdays
Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the other 3 days?
for basketball.
I'm sorry?
For basketball, I will not be.
Whoever,
Yes.
Other questions?
I just have,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I just had a, Mr. Ramirez, I think my biggest concern at this point is, I understand what you're trying to accomplish and I respect what you're trying to do with the youth. The only concern is, and the reason I contacted you was for the reason we
Can
started
you speak the
scheduling.
mic, Commish? I can't hear you, sorry.
We started, we have a coordinator that her sole responsibility is to schedule the events per location. So when, if she's not able to schedule them, for example, for the location when you're specifically talking about, there's no way, when somebody calls and wants to schedule a practice, if we don't have a knowing of what's going on out there, we can't work together. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that's why I contacted you to figure out how long you were using it and what days, and for you to kind of get on board with the scheduling process and being fair for everybody.
Yes.
I believe this place should be just like any other place, first come, first served basis. If you approach and you need it scheduled on Tuesdays and Thursdays and it's not booked, by all means, I don't feel why you should not be allowed to use it. That's just my opinion.
Yes, sir. I understand the problem. The conflict that will happen with that is if it's a first come, first serve like that. If you see on those pictures, the volleyball court is on top of the basketball court,
Right.
So, in order to play volleyball, there will have to be not no basketball, but there will be always a conflict with basketball. And so, the reason why I would like to separate days is because it's kind of just like turning the court and flipping it over. The court's for basketball now, and then flipping it over for volleyball on Tuesday, and then flipping it back over on Wednesday for basketball. The reason about that is because it's hard to play volleyball, setting up the net, taking time to set up the net, use the court for people who want to play volleyball. Because if people are playing basketball and using half the court for basketball, then the whole volleyball court could not be used because the whole volleyball court is on both ends of the half court of the basketball court. So if it is a first come first serve like that, then say basketball is going to be there, we either go there on Tuesdays or a day that's assigned, or we go there and we won't be able to set up because people are using the basketball court. And same thing with the volleyball. In the volleyball court, if we're playing volleyball and people want to go play basketball, the volleyball court's being used, so it's hard to play basketball at the same time. So this idea that I would like to pitch is to avoid and having specific days for volleyball. Avoid that conflict and let the public know, let people know that Tuesdays is volleyball. And so whoever wants to go play volleyball on those days will go play on volleyball. Just like people who want to go play basketball on Mondays, Tuesdays, all week used to use that facility. It's the same open gym and community, open to the community to go use, but it's just going to have the volleyball net up. And that's what I believe is with that conflict. That's what the conflict we will have. I do understand where you're coming, what you're saying, but that's my look on it with that. Is there anything else you can?
You had a question or a comment?
Judge, I know the issues we were having was with the basketball league. They were practicing, they were only allowed 1 hour. Their complaint or their concern was why were they only allowed 1 hour per team when the volleyball team was using it all day from 5 to 9. Because I understand it took them like 15 minutes to set up and 15 minutes to close to take off the net. So we had agreed, okay, we can use it, but if you use it half court. And I understand his point. He says the lines are the other way, Commissioner, and we have to use the full court. So back then when Lupita was, it should have been just half a court and half the court for the rest of the community that wanted to play volleyball. And when you gave me the schedule, when you gave me a copy of the schedule back when Jasmine came in, we saw where it was for 3 hours. I think you were from
6 to 9.
6 to 9. So that's when the other coaches were asking, why are we only allowed to use it for 1 hour when he's allowed to use it for 3 hours? And I told him, I said, the thing is, it's 30 minutes for setup and takedown, 15 and 15, and it's 1 hour, but then he had to teach the kids and the adults. So that's why it was the 3 hours. But then they were like, we can't use it because it's full court. I said, no, it's in the schedule that it should be just half court. But I understand that he needs to use full court also. So I mean, that's where the confusion and the misunderstanding was, or the concerns of the other coaches. They wanted to know why or how can we fix that. So that's when I told Miss Jasmine, I said, okay, then it's just an hour and a half. So either it's an hour and a half, 30 minutes to set up and take off, and then 1 hour. And I had also spoken to the city of Asherton, like I had asked you.
Yes, ma'am.
And they told me, yes, that we could do the
I remember
lines.
you told me.
They can use, you guys are also allowed to use the outside pavilion.
Yes, ma'am.
And that, I know I had 2 parents from your team that would donate and volunteer so we can do the lines and all that. So we're gonna do that one also.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. If we could,
If we don't agree or what needs to be done.
if I could rephrase that, teams, I don't feel like is the right term to be used for the younger and the adults. I would like to rephrase it to the community, because it is for the community, whoever, it's not my
The
team.
community, but it's 2 different ages. You have the adults and you have the kids.
Yes,
So that's why you were allowed, or that's why you were using the 3 hours
Yes,
at
yes.
that time.
okay, I understand.
I think now in terms of what caused a big confusion and going back and forth is that typically, during, I believe it's end of December through February, there's basketball, the youth Little League basketball. And so the concern became, was that the Asherton Recreational Center was being used solely for the purpose of just volleyball. And I completely understand that you had made at some point some arrangement with Ms. Puente. And at that time, maybe a lot of people were complaining, but not really asserting action into wanting to change that. So we got a lot of requests, I can tell you specifically in my office, in terms of different teams, basketball teams from the youth league wanting to use all the different parks that we had here in Dimmit County. And it was becoming a monster because everybody wanted to use it, everybody wanted to get this field or get that park, and people started fighting, and we didn't want that. That's the last thing that we wanted, because the services that we have in terms of these parks are for the community's benefit. The taxpayers pay for them, you pay, I pay, and they should be utilized by whether they're adults or whether they're children. So the best route that we went about it, and I mean, I'm proud to say that this youth organization that Mr. Bustamante had, he told me it was historical because they had, I think, I don't know, over 180 something kids this year. And I mean, they had never had that many kids participate, which was great. There was over 25 teams. And as you are very well aware, there is not a whole lot of places to practice basketball here in Dimmit County in terms of the capacity for 25 teams. And so we were working in conjunction with Mr. Bustamante and his league so that every single team could have an opportunity to practice. Whether they took advantage of that option or not was totally up to that team. But in order for us to be able to accommodate everybody, and in order for us to be able to appease to everybody, if you will, we had to do 1 hour, which cut into your time. And I understand that you have something going on. I think it's a great idea. I've heard many things about it, good things about people wanting to go out there. You're right. I mean, we do have people coming in from Eagle Pass, Uvalde, Cotulla. That's economic development for our businesses, for the restaurants, for the gas stations. People have to put gas here, eat here after they go play. Economic development for Asherton. I understand that. And we're not trying to take that away from you. And at least that's not what my vote is to take it away from you. But I want there to be inclusivity for everybody. And now the basketball season is over. Now it's just open gym for basketball. So it's not really there is, I understand that there is some teams that are still travel basketball and want to utilize the facility. But I think the best route to go about this is to have a set schedule where you have open gym for volleyball, open gym for basketball, and then have one day where it's open, perhaps Fridays, for anybody to go, not just exclusively for volleyball or exclusively for basketball. If people just want to go and hang out there, they can. The whole purpose of this recreational center, I think, was intended so that the community can utilize it to the max amount in all different ways, whether it's quinceañeras, baby showers, weddings, basketball, volleyball, soccer, whatever it may be. We don't want to hinder our youth or the adults from using that facility, because I really genuinely believe that if we keep our youth busy, we keep them out of trouble. And so I think it's very important that you continue to have open gym. I'm open for you to have the open gym. We just have to find a way to be able to collectively meet minds and be able to use it in a way that is going to help everyone. And I applaud you for doing this without getting paid, without charging a fee, because obviously it'd be different if you were paying a fee, because that's how it is for quinceañeras and baby showers and whatnot. But you're doing it, obviously, like you said, free of charge, and that takes a lot of effort and time. So my recommendation, and of course, both the commissioners can also input their opinion, but my recommendation is to allow you to use the gym, or allow you in the community to use it twice a week from 6 to 9. That is to include takedown and setup. So if that means you start at 7, then you have to start at 7. But because that'll give people from the general public 5 to 6 on the days that you are supposed to be there to go and use it if they want to for basketball or whatever. We're not taking away from the other kids, because I know, and I think Commissioner, you can agree, what I've heard is like, well, the little kids can't use it because there's a bunch of adults there. And that's what I don't want, because we're all adults, and it's not to take away that adults are any different, but I really think our focus and we should embody is our youth, because if we can have our youth there, have a place for them to keep busy, even if it's for an hour every single day, even the days you're using it, I think that will be drastic in terms of how many people the sheriff has to arrest, or how many people county attorney has to show up in court, or I have to preside, because we're keeping our youth busy. So my suggestion, my recommendation is to allow you to use it. Get with the events coordinator, get with Commissioner Rubalcaba twice a week, whether it's Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, from 6 to 9. That's my recommendation.
Is that including the setup?
That's
Setup starts
included.
at 6,
Setup starts at 6.
that closes down by
Yes,
9.
by 9. That's my recommendation.
Your Honor, if I may. Daniel Gonzalez, County Attorney. I have no opposition to what he's proposing, no objections to Mr. Ramirez. But we've had some concerns out there. If the court's going to allow this, they should implement some type of security. I know our sheriff and some of the constables have volunteered to patrol more when they have these activities out there, in case there's an incident involving an adult and a child out there. I understand and I agree with the court that this is for the children, but we also need to provide some security, either whoever is using it or the county, to avoid any liability.
And I duly noted your concerns the last Commissioners Court we had, Mr. Gonzalez, you mentioned that. I do know that Commissioner Rubalcaba has Ms. Acenas there,
We
correct?
have Mrs. Senna there from
5
5
to
to 10, 9 it closes, and then she does the cleaning. And I know Mr. Alman's been patrolling, and I know the sheriff sends his deputies out there.
I know, I can tell you for a fact, when you had your concerns the last time that you came to Commissioners Court in regards to adults fighting with children or adults fighting with adults, we duly noted it. I got with Sheriff Castañeda, the constables, and I know that particular evening after Commissioners Court, I did get photographs, and Constable Galvan was out there patrolling. So it was duly noted, obviously, I mean, Mrs. Sanas is there, which is Commissioner Rubalcaba's employee. I am kind of sure that if there's a problem or issue, she would contact Commissioner Rubalcaba or perhaps contact Ms. Jasmine. But in the alternative, we'll keep in communication with the sheriff's office and the constables to, you know, patrol that area often. I mean, we can't be there babysitting, obviously, but Mr. Ramirez, if you see that there's something, an argument that's about to ensue, or you're hearing words that, hey, they're gonna fight today, or whatever the case might be, I would, you know, kindly ask you to contact either Commissioner Rubalcaba or Commissioner Urenda or Ms. Rangel, so that we can either get the property authorities that need to be there. You know, the saying goes that for one bad apple, it ruins the whole bunch. We don't want that to happen. I can't stress that enough. I've seen it many a times where we as a commissioner's court, since my tenure here as judge, that have tried very hard to afford the community these rec centers, and then there's certain individuals or kids or parents not taking care of the kids, and they ruin it for everybody. And then we get the bad, you know, heat or the comments or concerns on social media that we're the bad people. But in all reality, in order for you to have something good, you have to take care of it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to continue to promote our youth. And I can't stress that enough. And the only way we can do that is to take care of what we have. And Commissioner Urenda, Commissioner Alonso, Commissioner Valerie, myself, we can't be there babysitting every single step of the way. But you as a person that's going to be signing a document that you're going to be in charge of this, it'll reflect on you. And so when you come back to ask us to use it, and if there's all these issues, then more likely than not, we're not going to allow you to, or anyone else to use it. So I ask you that you be cognizant of those surroundings, because we don't want something unfortunate to happen when you're trying to provide something free to the community.
I have corrected words for the youth as well. Words that were said, I have corrected them in the past, as well as we do have parents, a lot of parents there when the adults go out there, and they take authority as well, ex-law enforcement and people who do take care of the youth. So during the adult time, there are adults there to watch over them as well and take care of them.
Judge, the Tuesday and Thursday will start when and when? The 3-month, 4-month, or
Just the remainder of the year, and then we can,
basketball starts?
correct. So the Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mr. Ramirez, is what it looks like right now for the days. Are those days available, Jasmine? Well, you don't have to look right now, but
Good for a quarter, first quarter, from now to
we can,
August,
we
then after August, basketball starts, so then we have to revisit.
we can do that. So what we will do is that we will allow you to utilize the facilities free of charge, obviously, Tuesdays and Thursdays to begin effectively, immediately today for quarter periods, which is, you know, every 3 months. And then you'll come back and you'll get with Jasmine and either Commissioner Urenda. Jasmine will be your point of contact because she's the individual that's the event coordinator for the whole county for the facilities that we have. I do want to make something very clear to you though, is that if there is a paying customer that needs to utilize the facilities, because sometimes we have trainings or burials or people that are actually paying to use the facility on a Tuesday and Thursday, just be advised that Jasmine or Commissioner Okama will contact you and advise you that for that particular Tuesday, you won't be able to use the facilities because, or a holiday. If it's a Dimmit County observed holiday that's close, that the facilities are not going to be open. That's across the county. So just be advised, I don't want you to feel some certain kind of way because you're not allowed to use it on a Tuesday, but we're using it because someone passed away and they use that rec center for the family dinner or luncheon afterwards. So what we'll do is begin effective immediately Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 9. That's to include setup and takedown. And you'll get with Jasmine, and then when it comes down to the end of the quarter, we will reevaluate what we're at. And that's solely for the purposes of, again, trying to be able to include every organization here. It's very difficult. I mean, I've already been called, I know Commissioner Rubalcaba's been called because the football league is now wanting to do a summer football league, and they want to use the Bowman Field, as they advised me, because the school district is no longer allowing any 501c3s or any organization, period, to use their facilities. And I understand, but at the same time, it's unfortunate because then we don't have anywhere for our kids to do anything over the summer, and then we have them getting in trouble and doing things that they maybe shouldn't be while parents are at work. So I'm going to stand by my position that whatever I can do, and whatever we can as a commissioners court can do as a whole to keep our youth busy, and the adults as well, but more importantly them, because they are our future. We'll do whatever we need to do to make sure that we move it forward. And so with that being said, I don't want you to think that don't want to allow you to use it. We just want to make sure that everybody can use it and it be open to everybody. So we'll figure something out to make it work for you, for football, for basketball, softball, for everybody. Be patient with us, and I ask you that you have your supporters to be patient with us, and be mindful and not to become keyboard warriors on social media, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba. I have a second by Commissioner Uranda. Any further discussion? There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. And just get with Ms. Rangel, okay?
Yes,
Thank you.
Judge Commissioners.
3.5, discussion and appropriate action to approve the finalization of the TX CDBG Brundage Project Contract Number CFC21-0475, HLA Project Number 55031-PT.
Good morning. This is, we're just closing out this grant from Middle Rio Grant, so we just need Bill's approval to, for the payment.
On this Brundage project, Commissioner Uranda, that's yours, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Just to verify everything is acceptable. If everything is correct on here, if there's not any corrections to be made, I will entertain a motion to approve the final project contract. There is no questions. I will entertain Commissioner Alonso's motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Uranda. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you. 3.6, discussion and appropriate action, approval memorandum of understanding, MOU between Carrizo Springs Fire Department and the Dimmit County Fire Department.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
This MOU is just between the Ashington, Carrizo, and the county. It states that inside city limits, the Carrizo Fire Department will take care of it. Inside city limits of Ashington, Ashington will take care of it. Anything outside the city limits, county will take care of it. And this is also for us to get grants from Sixth Source. And I have here Tim, if he can explain it a little bit better.
Good morning, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Tim Kendrick. I'm the District Fire Coordinator for Texas A&M Forest Service for the 9 counties of the Middle Rio Grande COG for Disaster District 24. I work very closely with District Chief Van Zavava with TDM, and the reason we are updating this Memorandum of Understanding or Mutual Aid Agreement is because many of the mutual aid agreements in the state of Texas between fire departments are quite old. They're out of date. A lot of times the fire chiefs have retired or have passed away or have gotten different positions. And so by updating memorandums of understanding and mutual aid agreements, we can bring these all up to date. Memorandums of understanding and mutual aid agreements are legally binding documents. And in addition to that, they are the baseline for the House Bill 2604 funding that was authorized by the Texas State Legislature to grant funding to volunteer fire departments in the state of Texas. One of the criteria for that funding is a 911 district boundary, response boundary. Here recently, in the last year, Texas A&M Forest Service has transitioned from a legacy grant program where all of our grants were submitted via paperwork to a new system online through what's called Fire Connect. During that transition, the 911 boundaries between the city of Asherton, the city of Carrizo Springs, and Dimmit County Fire Department were corrupted or lost or something. We're still looking at how that came about. But what that meant is that the city of Carrizo Springs and the city of Asherton no longer had a valid 911 response boundary per the state of Texas, and therefore they were no longer eligible for grant funding through House Bill 2604. House Bill 2604 grants funding for fire apparatus, for training tuitions to send firefighters either to the state wildland fire academies or to the TEACS fire schools. And it also has grant funding for equipment and personal protective gear. Recently, Carrizo Springs was awarded a grant and they were able to purchase a FLIR camera system, an infrared camera system, to look for heat signatures in burning buildings and things of that nature. So these are these things that a lot of times the funding that is allocated to fire departments from municipalities, from county jurisdictions, can't cover a lot of the larger costs. And so House Bill 2604 allows for a cost sharing to purchase some of those larger items. Because of that transition and the loss of that data, this memorandum of understanding will be the first one in the Middle Rio Grande of the 9 counties that will be updated to 2024. Most of the other ones are dated anywhere between 2004, 2007, and 2017, 2019. So most of the ones in this area are very out of date. So, you know, Chief Carmona, thank you for working with Chief Galvan to update this MOU and this mutual aid agreement. You're the first in the region to do that, and I applaud you for that. So that's what I've got for you. Do you have any questions?
I have a question, not for you in particular, but for Chief Galvan. I'm looking at this MOU, and in regards to number 3, it says, Carrizo Springs Volunteer Fire Department will provide the following equipment with personnel to Dimmit County Fire Department. Are you guys also, as I understood it, my distinct understanding was that this is inclusive of Asherton, correct?
Number 3?
On number 3, Chief?
Fire response.
Fire response? So my question to you is, because initially this, when reading this MOU, it says Asherton is part of this particular MOU. However, I see that you guys failed to include Asherton in the fire response. It says CSVFD will provide the following equipment with operating personnel to DCFD when available. Is that also to include Asherton? If Asherton needs it, you guys will allow Asherton to utilize
If
it?
Asherton needs our, any assistance, they'll page out county and then they'll page us us, or vice versa.
So is it safe to say that we can insert, correct? Insert that you guys will provide personnel, equipment with operating personnel to Dimmit County Fire Department as well as Asherton Volunteer Fire Department. And conversely, on the second one, that Dimmit County Fire Department will provide equipment and operating personnel to Asherton Fire Department?
Just for the record, we both worked on it, so, but this draft was done by Chief Galvan.
On number 8 as well, I'd like to include for it to reflect Asherton Volunteer Fire Department. That's missing on there as well.
Judge, the only fire department that's not mentioned here is Big Rose, because as of right now, they're trying to get a truck, but Dimmit County is the primary responding agency that goes to Big Rose.
Excuse me.
Once they establish their fire department, we'll probably upgrade this mutual aid agreement once again. But at this time, they have applied for grants for trying to see if they can get a fire truck and equipment. That's why because it's not entered into this interlocal agreement.
Okay. And number 10 as well, Chief, if you can just stipulate on there the Fire Chief Juan Rosas of the Asherton Fire Department, Volunteer Fire Department, because that's not on there as well. And I don't know if you want to include your name and Chief Carmona's name on there.
I can do that.
Are there any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Then it's Steve. That's Steve, sir. Your Honor, my concern is there going to be any training to our dispatch, the sheriff's office, so they know the boundaries and who to dispatch? Sometimes there's been conflicts of, no, that's my area. And I don't know if it takes into account the extra jurisdictional limits of the cities involved. So,
Just maybe to perhaps answer your question, Mr. Gonzalez, there is maps attached to it. To clarify to the public, to Mr. Gonzalez, in these maps that are attached to the agenda, there is signature pages to include each chief, the mayor, the county judge, and the county sheriff, which is Sheriff Castañeda. I would hope and I would assume that Sheriff Castañeda would provide these maps to his dispatch so that they know the dispatch area and who to tone out in case of a fire or emergency. Correct?
Yes, after this gets signed, I'm gonna give a copy to the judge, Chief Carmona, and the sheriff.
And my distinct understanding is that inside the city limits are the city of Carrizo Springs, and then anything outside the city limits is Dimmit County Volunteer Fire Department. And I know at some point you had advised about some kind of 1 mile threshold. Is that still the fact? Because I don't see it on here. Okay.
that's the extra
So-
jurisdictional requirements.
So we are going to just make it very clear that inside city limits, it's,
So in the maps.
yeah, correct, to the, pursuant to the maps attached is where, and then we'll give that to the sheriff, and sheriff will give that to his dispatch, just so everyone's aware of their territory.
So after the corrections are made, I gotta bring it back to Commissioner's Court.
No, we're gonna approve it now. You'll bring back the corrections to my office so that I can sign, then Commissioner Carmona will sign, you will sign, the sheriff, and then we'll have it so that Mr. Garcia can actually formally certify it and put it in the minutes attached for our next Commissioner's Court. But we can approve that today on the record. We can approve this on the record today, subject to the corrections I told you.
Judge, on the 2604, I normally do the application, and we have already turned one in for those grants. So we're on the waiting list, and they'll let us know if we qualify or not. It's just a 2-page grant.
Suggest that we make sure Tim gets a copy of the final grant so he knows everybody's in compliance when they apply. The final memorandum of understanding.
Yes, after all this is signed, I gotta email it to him.
So yes, once the memorandum of understanding is signed, we will need a copy of it for our files in College Station, and then a KML file or some sort of file sent from the county to College Station updating the response boundaries so that we can get that updated within our new Fire Connect system. And to Chief Carmona's point on the grant for 2604, they have submitted multiple grants to 2604 and are on the waiting list for that as well. The issue that brought this to light is Chief Galvan had also submitted grants and was on the waiting list, and then during the funding meeting that was held last October for fiscal Q1 for the state of Texas, they were no longer on the funding list. And so it brought up a bunch of questions on where did Carrizo Springs Fire Department go, and that's what brought this to light. So hopefully once this is signed and approved by you fine folks, they will be able to get back onto the funding list at the spot where they were previously.
I will entertain a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding MOU between the County of Dimmit, the City of Carrizo Springs Volunteer Fire Department, and also the City of Asherton Volunteer Firefighter Department, subject to the corrections and changes as stated on the record. I have a motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Urenda. Yes, sir. One other correction, and I'll get this to you, Mr. Chief Galvan, so that you can see the corrections that need to be made, and then we'll try to expedite the process as fast as we can, so that we can get it back to Mr. Tim as soon as possible, so that you guys can apply for the grants that you need to apply for. But on the first part right here, just add the City of Asherton Volunteer Fire Department. If there's no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? And we have one abstention. We have one abstention, which is going to be Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll give this to Ms. Hernandez so she can get it to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank-
you, Commissioners.
Okay.
3.7, discussion and appropriate action, approval to advertise for the project manager for Dimmit County Sports Complex. Commissioners, as you know, we're still on track, a little late, as I'm unfortunate to say, but we needed to just get this is just a formality, as you guys know, so that we could advertise for the project manager for the sports complex.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Rubalcaba. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. I am going to table item number 3.8. Ms. Cruz had a family emergency, so she will not be available to present. We will put it on the next agenda.
So second.
Motion by myself, second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. We do have 3.9, discussion and appropriate action. Yes, ma'am. Where's that at, Commissioner? Yes, we'll approve when we do hers and Gadi's together. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. 3.9, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from FCH agent Ms. Carissa Munoz for the month of March, April 2014.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning. Good morning, excuse me. Are there any questions of Mrs. Munoz's report? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba, second by Commissioner Urenda. Any other discussion? Any comments, Ms. Munoz? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Just give me 1 second, Ms. Munoz, I kind of got out of place. I do need to call 3.34. I passed it, it was an addendum.
And that's to,
Accept a donation of a swing and playground set from Chicanos por la Causa to Dimmit County Park, Joaquin Salgado Park. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.10, approval for County Extension Agent Ms. Alyssa Cruz and FCH Agent Ms. Carissa Munoz to attend the South Texas or South Region Program Planning Conference May 14th through the 16th in San Antonio, Texas.
So moved.
Excuse me. Oh, I was gonna say I was looking for yours, Ms. Munoz, but I got it. Are there any questions? I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Urenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Munoz.
thank you.
We have 3.11, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Events Coordinator, Ms. Jasmine Rangel for the month of April 2024.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning. Of the Bowman Field one, they'll just need to get with you, Commissioner Desmond, for the bat football. Are there any questions of Ms. Rangel?
Ms. Huffman, on your reports, can you add the fees that they pay? It is not. Like the last one? The one that are they, because usually they were included in the fee. Okay, I'll put it in next time.
Any other questions?
Judge, Mr. Cruz, Justin, he's still working on the restrooms. I know that the guys he's done, the boys, we're still working on the girls.
For the Bowman.
For the moment, so hopefully by the time we start football practice, we should.
So they're gonna use it after?
I don't know, after they, all of you, I don't know what happened. They just called me and I told them, why you so no say, they need to.
Just keep in communication with them, Ms. Rangel.
Just letting you know the restrooms are almost done.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Urenda, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Noguera. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. 3.12, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 2, Mr. Andres Arambula, Roland Rubio, Joey Rivera, for the month of April 2024.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners,
Morning.
Mr. Garcia.
Mr. Aramula, how many hours do your reserves take?
Anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a month, ma'am.
If they do them between 5 and 9, you know, if it's going, the action direct please. If they do it between 5 and 9 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, can they control the rest?
Oh, sure thing. They can actually do a walkthrough also.
That would be great. Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Noguera. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.13, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 3, Mr. Robert Valderas, and Juventino Torres for the month of April 2024.
Morning, Judge. Morning,
Good morning.
Juventino Torres, are you deputy?
Yes.
Or you reserve?
New deputy. Yes, ma'am. He just started last June.
Any questions of Constable Valderas?
Valderas also, if he's available Tuesdays and Thursdays, if he could totally answer to me.
Yes, ma'am. Same thing of myself as well.
Thank you.
One question I do got, right now we only have one unit, which is mine. The Chevy Silverado 2019, the transmission, we just found out went out, so.
And
we're
the new
looking at
truck?
The silver.
Oh, silver.
So right now, it's at Metro, so I might transfer it over to Rams to see what they could do. And at the same time, the auditor's office is trying to find out if it's still in warranty. So we'll get back and find out what the cost is gonna be from there.
Thank you for that information, Constable. Any other questions, comments?
Motion to.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner who? Who second? Commissioner Noguera? Any other comments? Discussion, all in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Constable. Have a good day. Oh, you have one more. I hadn't turned the page yet. 3.14, discussion and appropriate action approval for Constable Precinct 3, Robert Valderas, to attend the continuing education for Constable class July 14th through the 19th in Huntsville, Texas.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Urenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. 3.15, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 1, Mr. Castañeda. I have a motion to table by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Urenda. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Did Mr. Galvan call? He's not gonna be here. I will entertain a motion to table. I have a motion to table Constable Galvan's report by Commissioner Noguera. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Urenda. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Victory Evans for the months of March and April 2024.
Good morning, everyone.
Mr. Olivares, do you have a report? We don't have.
They had told me they had emailed me back, but I have these here if you don't read them.
You. I guess my secretary doesn't like me because she didn't give me one. She does. I'll just borrow somebody's.
So for March and April, correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for the month of March, we had a total of 283 runs. We had 67 emergencies, 34 refusals, 51 transfers, 17 helipads, 22 discharges, 53 dialysis, 12 appointments, doctor's appointments, 0 wound cares, and 27 MBAs. And for the month of April, we had a total of 237 runs. We had 45 emergencies, 39 refusals, 44 transfers, 13 helipads, 18 discharges, 26 dialysis, 23 doctor's appointments, 6 wound cares, 19 MBAs, and 4 DOAs. And just so you know, I wasn't sure if I missed February, but I have the report because I know I didn't come to 2 courts, but I do have that report unless you want me to I don't think they turned it in, you go
You
to the
can
next
email
one.
it to
Or email
Ms.
it to-
Hernandez, and then we'll forward it to the commissioners.
Okay, so you want me to go ahead and present the
Yes,
now
please.
for February?
Sure, please.
Okay. So for February, we had a total of 296 runs. And we had 52 emergencies, 24 refusals, 44 transfers, 19 helipads, 16 discharges, 93 dialysis, 12 doctor's appointments, 18 wound cares, 16 MVAs, and 2 DOAs. And just to let you know also, well, unless you want me to wait till I present, this has something with the community presentation. I don't even check the reports first and then. No, yes, yes.
Are there any questions of Mr. Olivares?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. I have a second by Commissioner Ocava. Further discussion? You had something, Mr. Olivares?
Yes,
How
ma'am.
many 911 units do you guys have available now that 2 are down?
We have, right now I have five ambulances, ma'am, and then the one that we lost in that fire. So we had a total of 6, now we have a total of 5. That we have ambulances that we own, that we have, and then we still run the 3 a day, which we have the 2 24-hour trucks and the 1-day truck. And then with those 3 trucks, we do everything within what comes up. But there's always the one for the county.
Those 2 trucks that you have that do everything, are those the ones for transports?
For everything. We use them for everything. So whatever, basically they take turns running the calls. Yeah.
And you had a comment, Mr. Olivares?
Yes, ma'am. Next Monday we have the community mock, the Shine Dreams mock, and it's going to consist of first responder organizations. We got together and we're starting it up again. COVID had put a stop to it a while back, but it's just for the community. It's a presentation where it either involves drunk driving or
Under the influence?
Under the influence, yes, ma'am, of things that happen. So I believe this year, since there's a big old big thing with fentanyl, been going on forever, and pills and stuff. So we're going to target that issue, especially with the kids and stuff, because some of them don't know what's given to them or what they take, and just to be cautious and aware, the things that can happen
Definitely.
during that time. So it'll be Monday, next Monday. I don't remember the time. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock in front of the field house, that little green section, marked out there. Yes, right across the field house.
Well, thank you for that information, and just to put on the record for the public that they will be having a mock accident next Monday, May 13th at 10 o'clock in front of the field house here in Carrizo Springs. And the public's invited to attend, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Olivares. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Olivares.
Thank you.
Have a good day. 3.18, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Dimmit County Golf Course for the month of April 2024.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Hyman. Any questions of Ms. Hyman?
Saturday and Sundays are your busiest days?
The majority of the time, yes, ma'am. We're holding taco tournaments on Thursday afternoon, and then yesterday we had a super taco, but it was washed out.
I want to applaud you, Ms. Jaime, for, the sales and the food and beverages, that's amazing, that's awesome. That's really good to see that the golf course is thriving in terms of the revenue that it's generating for our county with the food and the water and the beverages.
Thank you. We had a comment yesterday from a person that holds tournaments, and the past couple of years they've been hosted either in Uvalde or elsewhere, and they've given me appreciative compliments as how we're keeping up and maintaining the golf course, so I'm very proud of that.
Congratulations.
I have an awesome staff.
Congratulations. The numbers reflect it. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Hyman.
Thank you.
3.19, discussion and appropriate action, approval to seek legal counsel, precinct 1.
This is for requesting to bring in a legal counseling judge for issue in the prison.
Questions?
Yes, Your Honor. It's not clear why Commissioner's seeking legal counsel, Your Honor, just need clarification.
I'm seeking legal counseling, just to turn by Mr. Gonzalez, based on the charges that were pressed against me.
Okay. Based on that comment, Your Honor, I don't believe that the Commissioner's Court's entitled to provide legal counsel to the Commissioner on this issue.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Can I comment on that? What we were thinking is basically submit it to our insurance company and see what they say. And does it hurt you? I mean, they can come back and say yes or come back and say no.
Well, then the motion needs to be changed to send it to the insurance company to see if there's a valid claim that will cover the Commissioner on this issue. It's going to be a motion, because if it's a criminal in nature, he's like any
Is
other.
it criminal in nature?
I mean, I can't answer that at this point. The judge would answer that.
Yeah. And then he's entitled, like any other defendant, to apply for legal counsel if he cannot afford it.
Well, I understand that. I mean, obviously, if you have charges against you, obviously it's criminal, right?
Right, and I'm bonded to the county.
Correct. The way I understood it from Commissioner, from Mr. Pereira, was that because Commissioner Brenda, as well as the rest of the court, is bonded, that there may be a possibility through the insurance that the county, because it was an incident that occurred as his official color or title as a commissioner, that legal services would be provided by the county since we're bonded.
Well, that request has never been made of any other elected official that has had criminal charges. So that's why,
Has there been other?
Yes.
Oh, I guess you're the first one to request for an attorney.
Yeah, I'm requesting.
So the motion would be to provide or request that the insurance would cover Mr. Urenda and any criminal proceeding that he may have pending.
Say that again, Mr. Gonzalez.
The motion would be that the court would be forwarding a claim to the insurance company to see if they would cover Mr. Urenda on any criminal case he may have pending. And if I'm not mistaken, you have to make a separate request to the bonding company.
Do we have to forward that to the bonding company?
But yeah,
The bonding, the bond companies,
it's a separate matter.
it's a separate matter.
I'm going to entertain a motion that authorizes our county auditor, Mr. Pereira, to forward any requests for legal counsel to be provided for the representation of Commissioner Uranda in any criminal matter. And also, in addition to that, that Mr. Pereira, our county auditor, also forward the request to our general insurance.
Oh, general insurance.
Yeah, general insurance. It's to do both in the alternative, the bond, to request with the bond, and then the alternative to the general insurance.
I don't think you want the bond. Because bond is, because they're gonna, the bond actually pays us.
That's what Mr. Gonzalez is saying, is Mr. Gonzalez. I'm saying it still has to be
Yes,
set to the bond.
yeah,
Not this one.
yeah, not at this point, the agenda item does not cover it. Now, if.
I know, but that's why I'm putting it into motion, and if the commissioners want to approve it, they can, and if they don't, then
But-
Mr. Uranda, you're gonna have to.
I don't think bond.
If the insurance company provides for defense and there's any money spent, then the insurance may have a claim against the bond. And the county may have a claim against the bond for the money used by the insurance.
Yeah, the bond is, at this point is, should be.
It's premature.
Because I think bond is.
The
guilty.
motion that is going to be on the table is to authorize Mr. Pereira to contact general insurance in regards to seeking legal counsel for Commissioner Uranda. Furthermore, to authorize Mr. Pereira, if the need arises, to make the contact with the bond, our bond company. That's my motion, Mr. Garcia. Is there a second? I don't have a second. The motion dies, Commissioner Uranda. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, because this is just, if they will do it or not do it, I mean, it doesn't cost the county anything, well, but it's a claim, but it's something that the commitment,
Is this going to
Insurance.
deny me my right to protect myself as a county commissioner?
I put the motion in place, and I didn't get a second, so it dies.
We have a motion.
I'm not denying you your right. My thing is it allowable or?
Well, that's what
That's what we're gonna find out.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this and review it and make sure that we get the correct information.
We did review it, Commissioner, that's why he put it on the agenda.
but that's what we're doing, it's just to submit it, they're gonna come back and say, hey, it's allowable, not allowable, that's it. So it's not allowable, it's dead as far as the insurance is concerned. If it is allowable, then they take it over.
So there's two, I'm in the same position as, I'm confused on that thing. Because we're talking about the general insurance, and then we're talking about the bonding insurance.
No, it's just the it's just the
We're
general.
gonna turn in paperwork to, that's what's,
The problem is the bond, I don't think applies at this point.
okay.
That's what I'm saying, to authorize him, I said furthermore, to authorize him to talk to the bond if the need arises, if it needs to be, so that we don't have to come back to Commissioner's Court and re-discuss the bond. At some point, if the insurance tells him that they can or cannot allow, it's not an allowable cost to get a criminal defense attorney for Commissioner Uranda, then I think that's an item that will have to be back on the agenda so that he can advise the court. But if you're not comfortable with it,
Then I
then
don't see why we should bring it to Commissioner's Court. He can do it. He can seek it. He doesn't need our approval. He can just go and seek if it's allowable. There's no need to bring it to Commissioner's Court. Once he gets the approval of the attorney, or then it comes back to, then is when you bring it to Commissioner's Court. Because like, you're the one saying, then we have to bring it back for the approval, so to be able, you would seek.
No, they would, the company would be the one
to determine, not Commissioner Court.
But he can call.
But she's saying that if you go to the insurance company and the insurance company tells you, yes, we can provide criminal defense attorney, you still have to come over here so that the court will approve that cost.
No, because they take over.
That's what I'm
But-
saying. I don't see no reason for us to approve for him to seek legal counsel. He can just call them and ask. And if they
We'll
say,
submit the claim to
Yes,
the insurance.
then afterwards.
That's what she's saying. Afterwards, you need to bring it back so that we can vote on whether we want to allow the cost of hiring a criminal defense attorney, correct?
Because it's his right to seek it.
But if the
he wants.
insurance
He
does,
doesn't have to go
okay.
through us.
And I think you got a valid point. But I think that once the insurance says yes, they do, then they take over. It doesn't, Commissioner's Court has nothing to do with it.
We don't have nothing to do with it to begin with. Right now, it's up to him if he wants to seek it, because he's just seeking legal advice.
You done others like that, talk to the insurance on other issues that
I will. Yeah, I think maybe you do have, where we just go follow the claim and see what they come back with. Yes.
The motion dies. We're going to go to 3.20. Discussion and appropriate action. Approval for Precinct 1 to dispose and tear down the old mobile office used for the Dimmit County Junior Livestock Association.
Judge, this is an old building that's placed between the old ag showroom and the building that runs along 186. It's just been abandoned, it's falling apart. There's a lot of rodents living in it. And it's actually a hazard because there was electricity hooked up to it. They finally disconnected all that, but it's a hazard out there. And they're wanting assistance in removing it.
Is that the one across?
The old, like a mobile
When
type,
they
but
got
it's-
flooded,
yeah.
and we have to.
there's a lot of mold and stuff going on. So I asked them to submit a letter specifying that we would not be liable for anything in regards to the building itself. This is a problem.
This is the letter.
Is this the letter? Motion to approve.
I have a motion, or any comments? I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Rubalcaba,
second,
second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Yes, Mr. Gonzalez.
Your Honor, we didn't place that little trailer there, the association did. So they need it removed. I believe they should remove it at their own expense, not at the county's expense.
I think the way I understand, they're supposed to have some people, we're supposed to assist in removing and hauling it off because they don't have equipment to haul it.
Well, the motion says dispose and tear down. Are we going to do the tearing down or?
Assist the disposal and tear down. I believe the word assist is in there. Dispose and tear down.
Where it's like, you're going to tear it down and dispose of it for the organization.
They don't, I mean, everyone knows this organization what it's about, and it's all about the youth of the community. They do not have equipment, obviously, so, I mean, I'm sure they can pay somebody, but if they don't have the funds, that building will stay there until some kid walks in there and either lights it up or gets hurt. It's up to the board. We are deciding.
And just for the record, I'm aware of the organization. I've contributed for years, even though didn't have anybody participating in the livestock shows. But, I just don't see that it's the county's responsibility to tear down and remove a building that another organization has. And also, I'm correct, I believe Mr. Renda is the vice president of the organization, so he would have a conflict on voting on this issue.
That's why we're going to abstain, that's why. I told them to write the letter in written to show it to Commissioner's Court, but.
Leave it to the court's discretion.
So it's your recommendation for us not to approve that, correct?
It's private property, Your Honor. You know, now, the court would have to make a finding that there's a public purpose in assisting the organization to demolish and remove that building. If you reword your motion and find a public purpose, then we should be okay.
Can we word it as a hazard to the public, being that it's an abandoned?
Well, see, I'm just asking, no, you're going in the right direction, but you're saying it's abandoned. No, it still belongs to the organization. It's
Well, I
the
mean, it's not.
organization's responsibility to maintain their property. And they have not maintained this property. Since they have not maintained it, now say, okay, let's let the county demolish it and remove it for us. You know, how is that our responsibility?
Well, I figured I'd use the word abandoned because they have not been named yet. But I know what you're leading to, that it's owned by the Dimmit County lifestyle.
Right. If it was county property or they had dedicated to the county and we accepted it, we just didn't maintain it, no problem. But it's still in their name.
I have a motion by Commissioner Noguera to table.
Second.
Your Honor, just so the record's clear, there was no vote on the first motion. Is Commissioner withdrawn it?
Yes. Mr. Garcia, there is a motion to table, withdrawing the previous motion by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. There's no further discussion. All in favor? Any opposition? Aye. Motion dies. No action. (3.21) Discussion and appropriate action, approval for road and bridge precinct 4 to install street lights in Carrizo Hill.
Judge, we would like to install additional street lights in Carrizo Hill. I know 2 years ago we installed 10 street lights. Maybe you guys passed through Carrizo Hill, it's still dark, we still need, I know getting a big 10 or 12 would be awesome, but we would still need more, but at least 10 or 12 would be good for now.
I hate to stop the discussion. I'm going to take a minute. I'll go ahead.
Install street lights and commissioners in Carrizo Hill.
Commissioner, and this is out of your COs, or is it going to be just out of your general budget? Do you have a ballpark figure?
We installed some years ago, but AEP, if the light pole is already in existence, they cannot charge. But if they have to install, so I would recommend that they, let them really quickly install, that way we don't get a fee. And then of course, it's just a monthly fee for that.
Perfect. Any other questions? Motion by Commissioner Uranda, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.22, discussion and appropriate action, approval for Road and Bridge Precinct 4 to purchase a direct drive wheel balancer.
Purchase the balancer and the fix already gave out. When we had our budget hearings, there was approved to purchase some new equipment. So this is part of our.
Your line item. Is this for Precinct 4 or Metro?
Metro.
So this is for the Metro, to come out of the Metro equipment budget line item.
Yes, ma'am. 322, 323, and 324 will come out of Metro.
Okay. So we have two vendors. We have CarQuest for $11,199.99. And we have Carl Turner Equipment in the amount of $13,620 for the drive wheel balancer. We have any questions?
Which one has a better warranty?
Excuse me?
Which one has a better warranty?
Commissioner Rubalcaba, are you requesting this court to entertain which recommendation for which vendor? CarQuest, which is in the amount of $11,199.99. Mr. Gonzalez has inquired as to the warranty. Commissioner Rubalcaba said that they've never had
They
warranty.
come with 1-year warranty, but I've been here 9 years and we always say we don't purchase the extended warranty. I don't know if it's changed or it's up to the court to decide.
I understand that we may not purchase it, but because of the use of the machinery, if the extended warranty is beneficial to the county, we should consider it.
I think it was like $400 or $500 extra for the warranty.
For how many years?
Because with 1 year, you wanted additional for 3 years, it was $400 to $500.
And you said historically speaking, this commissioner's court has never purchased it.
But I'm also just going to point that it's for the veteran.
Yeah, and we need it. Yeah, I'll leave the money issue to the auditor.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna extend the warranty, and we have an issue with it, yeah.
Yeah, I'd recommend the warranty, like the additional $400, if that's what it is.
We can put that on the record that it's a recommendation from our county attorney and our auditor that we purchase the extended warranty, and not that because we're just being frivolous with county spending. Because historically speaking, it was never purchased before. And I want to put it on the record that we're not just spending money just to spend money.
No, it's in the best interest of the county.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Any other comments or questions?
Motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Urenda to purchase from vendor CarQuest as requested by Commissioner Rubalcaba, and that she inquire as to the additional extended warranty, Commissioner.
And also
Can you let me know of that whenever for the appeal?
Yeah, and also approve the warranty subject to the figures being provided to the county judge for appeal.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. I have a motion by Commissioner Urenda. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Rubalcaba, Commissioner Rubalcaba. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.23, discussion and appropriate action, approval for Road and Bridge Precinct 4 to purchase a tire changer machine for the Metroplex. Excuse me. We do have 3 quotes provided by Commissioner Rubalcaba for CarQuest in the amount of $11,099.99. Carl Turner Equipment, $11,490. And Hoffman Monty for $11,399. And this is again for a tire changer for the Metroplex. Any other questions?
Motion to approve. Oh, Carquest, I guess you going with Carquest? Motion to approve with Carquest.
Commissioner Alonso, the motion is going to be to approve for Commissioner Noguera to purchase a tire changer machine subject and in addition to the extended warranty that she will provide to the county judge's office for purposes of approving the PO. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Uranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.24, discussion and appropriate action, approval for Road and Bridge Precinct 4 to purchase. Is that supposed to say 2 TWO? Or is it to purchase 2 diagnostic tablet for Metroplex?
Purchase a diagnostic.
Approval for Road and Bridge to purchase a diagnostic tablet for Metroplex. I suppose that's the computer system to inform us what's wrong with the vehicles.
2 years ago, Judge, we purchased one. We're getting newer models, new vehicles.
They're not in, they don't pick up on the newer vehicles.
They're not picking up on the 18 years that can work.
Any questions in regards to that? We do have 3 vendors, AutoZone for the amount of $6,046.99. We have Think Car Diagnostic Tablet for $6,000. And we have CarQuest for the Auto Maxi System Ultra Diagnostic Tablet for $5,899. Again, put it on the record that these are equipment line items that were pre-approved in the annual budget. Is that correct, Commissioner Noguera? So they have been allocated funds for these purchases. And I suppose, or I won't speculate, but who are you asking for the court to approve? CarQuest. Do I have
I
a
say CarQuest.
next
It's a
out
local
of
vendor, and it's also, we've always gone with the cheap, with the least expensive.
It is the least expensive.
So,
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.25, discussion and appropriate action, approval to approve authority resolution, participation in the Logic Investment Pool.
Morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning, Mr. Ortiz.
I wanted to bring this to the Commissioners Court to add this investment pool to our investment policy so we can invest in diversify in our investments to make the county more money, essentially.
Do we have that resolution?
I have it with me, and
Is that the original?
Yes.
Can you get that to Mr. Garcia so that we can get that signed? And again, this is simply to approve that resolution to authorize you so that we can be able to expand our investment options, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you for that, Mr. Ortiz. Yes, sir. You have a comment?
Yes, and the reason that we're doing this is also the next 2 pools are the ones that are right now coming in with a higher yield than what we've had in the past.
I have a motion by Commissioner Noguera. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Uranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.26, to approve the resolution authorizing participation in the tax pool investment pools.
This
Same
is the
announcement?
Same announcement.
Motion by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Odena. I just want to put on the record, Mr. Ortiz, that I want to thank you for trying to expand our options and our abilities to try to invest more so that we have higher returns for our county and higher revenue for our county.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. 3.27, approval to open bank account for SB 22 grant.
This is just so we can have easier accounting for this grant we have received. So the sheriff's office, the constable's money, and the county attorney's money will be in this bank account.
I have a motion by Commissioner Noguera. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso, or who was it?
Uriel.
Who?
Commissioner Uriel.
I can't hear from one ear to the Commissioner Odena, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. .28, discussion and appropriate action, approval to set juror pay as per Government Code 61. Is that yours, Ms. Marty? Excuse me.
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners.
Good afternoon, Ms. Marty.
And this was on here on behalf of Mr. Ortiz. I was not aware that I had to put this on the agenda. It's just a formality. The 88th legislative last summer passed a jury pay increase. So the Government Code 61.001 increases the first day of jury service from $6 to $20. And
$6 to $20?
yes, ma'am. And then thereafter, the first day went up from $40 to $58. And of course, that has to, it goes.
The formality.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Marty.
I do have literature for your information.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Marty. And just for the record, Mr. Garcia, that although that there was an increase as per HB 3474, there is not going to be any increase in terms of the cost. It's going to cost Dimmit County, as the notes signified that the Government Code 61.0015, there's a reimbursement to the county for those increased costs. So there won't be an additional cost to the county of Dimmit for those increases. Thank you, Commissioner Noguera. Motion, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Odena. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. 3.29, discussion and appropriate action. Dimmit County second quarter investment report.
So this is the investment report for last quarter, which dated January 1st through March 31st. In summary, at the beginning of that quarter, we had $120,979,421.64. And I moved about a little over 12 million and then took out 11 million, just to pay for our different expenses or moving to better investments in order to make a better interest rate for our money. and we're able to make $1,552,624.64 in that quarter, which netted us by the end of the quarter $123,774,800.69.
Any questions of Mr. Ortiz? So it suffices to say that we're on the right track.
Yes.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.3, discussion and appropriate action, approval to consider paying for broken windshields caused by precinct 4 employee. Mr. Pereira.
Judge, I approached Mr. Pereira. Our employees were cutting grass at the yard at the Metroplex, and the guys park along the fence. That's the part that they don't park under the shed, so they park by the fence. While they were cutting grass, they didn't realize it, but after he was done, the employees realized that their windshields were broken, two of the cars. Uh-huh. And they approached me and I said, I'm not sure, and he asked. So I came to ask Mr. Pereira, but he said, I'm not too sure, we need to put the commissioner's report. So I said, okay.
I suppose because we would have to put it through our insurance agency to
Right.
see if it qualifies to pay.
But what happens there is because it doesn't meet the deductible, then we would end up paying for it anyway. And if we do that, report to insurance, then we would have two separate claims already against us. And so that would cause our insurance to go up because the insurance, basically, they price it according to how many claims you have. And those would be two already. So and we would end up paying for the deductible for the windshields anyway because it's under the deductible. So that's why I recommend that. Basically, we just, based on that,
What's
pay ourselves.
what's the amount on the damages
For the windshield, it would be $275
each with each vehicle? And that's for personal vehicles, right?
I didn't know if it was allowed or not, so we'll look into it and check.
But, I mean, basically, we're just paying it without reporting it.
Mr. Perez is correct that the deductible is probably too high and we have claims that would probably be in the best interest of the county to pay for it if the county chooses to do so. But in the future, they're cutting grass, they need to move their vehicles, so this won't happen again.
They were doing trash routes. So our mechanics, they have time to cut the grass, so they started cutting grass. And I advised one of the employee, one is Mr. Reyes,
Mhm.
I said, from now on, and they have to park your car, it was Mr. Reyes, Mr. Martinez, park your car at the sheriff's office from now on to alleviate this. But
It happens.
It happened, but I said, well, let me ask, because I've never.
If the court approves the expenditure, I agree with Mr. Pereira, the deductible's too high and it's gonna be two claims on the county and our insurance could go up, so it's subject to the court's approval. This was an accident, happened with county equipment, it's subject to the court's approval.
We don't, do we need like a sheriff, report from the sheriff?
Well, not only a report, but then also copies of the estimates, so that's on record as well. And then, we consider an accident, forward to the county judge's office, for sure, the policy, and then once you have that, you may want to consider tabling, once you have that, bring it back and approve it.
I don't have it with you, but I have a report that we did. They're not the sheriff's office report, but it's our incident report. Yes. And we'll get the actual quote. They came and checked, they didn't give it to us.
I'm gonna table this item so that we can have the requisite documentation before we make a decision. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor? And Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.31, discussion and appropriate action, discussion of 24-hour drug test and defensive driving course after vehicle accident policy. Mr. Penna?
Where's the policy?
Okay. Oh, what? Go have it with you. I didn't bring
Do you have that policy, Mr. Ortiz?
I have the policy for the employees, but it states county employees, not the volunteers.
That's for anybody driving a county vehicle, isn't it?
Well, the wording is any employee.
So does that need to be amended and corrected? We need to amend and correct the policy to reflect, I guess, because Mr. Pereira is saying that it doesn't include volunteers. So if there's anybody like a volunteer or fire department.
I think it should, because it's anybody driving county
Oh,
vehicle.
you stated we were county employees.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
that
have
was the
employees.
word. Now you're contradicting.
No, what I'm saying is county vehicle. Anybody driving a
No,
county
no, no.
vehicle should be having to go through that procedure. So if the,
Well, I don't think that anybody should just be driving county vehicles.
exactly.
I mean, that would go against I mean, don't you think for us to allow just anybody to be driving?
Should be driving vehicle.
I don't have no problem testing the fireman or anything like that, but I just want to get it right on your wording because
Well, I
when you
think-
and I had, when you, Mr. Pereira, and I had a discussion, you stated that they weren't county employees because they're not allowed to use certain buildings. And that's when the conflict, when the confusion started.
Correct. That's what I was getting at is anybody driving a county vehicle would have to be subject to.
But the policy also says that not only do you have to take a drug test within 24 hours, you also have to report it to the county judge's office, you have to make a police report, and you also have to take a defensive driving course
That would be in county vehicle.
in a county vehicle. And
So, but.
I don't think anyone's taken a defensive driving course when they've had an accident. Not that, when it's supposed to, that certificate's supposed to be submitted to my office, and I have yet to receive one from anybody. And I know we've had several accidents since I've come into office.
We probably need to clarify the policy. And then the other issue is, you know, if we have volunteers like the fire department, whether they can, employees, if they can use our local gym, I think that's where the discussion occurred on the other matter.
Well, but the problem is if you're saying that a county, if they're not, then they should be wearing driving county equipment.
So are we talking about somebody using the gym or what?
Well, right now it's the equipment.
What equipment?
I mean, the vehicles.
Right now it's the gym also.
No, because
But-
the drug testing and all that comes under the
No, but
equipment.
what we're talking about,
I understand that, but if they're not, okay, they're not county employees, then they shouldn't be driving county equipment either.
I have a question.
so who's gonna volunteer?
I have a question. Are they covered through our insurance?
Yes.
They're covered under workman's comp.
Being one of the county vehicles and has an accident in it, are they covered under our insurance?
I can't say 100%, but I would assume that the insurance would cover, just like well, like a normal, what's it called, like driving insurance, they cover, as long as you have the coverage, it covers anybody using, not just owner of the vehicle, anybody operating. So the wording of the policy is that it covers the operator of the vehicle. But I feel like that's more of a question for the adjuster of the claim.
So,
But the question was whether they should be taking a drug test.
yes, if you're in a
If
county
there's an
vehicle,
accident, and that's county policy, you can, that's what I'm saying, clarify. that.
That's what I'm saying, we need to amend and clarify the policy, because right now, is the volunteer fire department's employees or not?
Says no.
According to Oscar, they're not. Mr. Ortiz, they are not employees.
Correct.
So if they're not employees, then if they're in an accident this policy does not apply to them. And that defeats the purpose of the policy. And if they're not employees, then you're correct. They can't utilize the facilities or whatever you're talking about if you're not an employee. So I think the policy needs to be corrected, and furthermore to stress the fact that the defensive driving course needs to be taken as well, because that's not being taken. Mr. Ortiz advised me about that defensive driving course, and I didn't know anything about that. And I can tell you this much, like I said, since I came into office, I know we've had some accidents, and no one has submitted a defensive driving course.
Your Honor, we're gonna amend the policy. I just talked to the sheriff, it came to mind. We also need to include the reserves. They're like volunteers.
That's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying.
You know, they're in an accident, they also submit a report. You can't think of anybody else that works for the county temporarily or otherwise. Or we could include any temporary employees working for the county, because sometimes they're not
Like summers.
covered by the insurance.
So they're not supposed to be driving.
No, but the part-time.
We need to be
Okay, we can just put anybody that's eligible to drive a county vehicle. It's,
But who gets to decide who's eligible and who's not?
I mean, honestly, even if we put it in,
I mean, because technically, if you think about it, if you want to get technical, if he's saying that they're not employees, his volunteer firefighters drive those vehicles. They drive the fire trucks and they drive all these other things. And if they're not employees, then it's kind of oxymoron, in my opinion. Right?
Just for the record also, technically, since we're being technical, elected officials aren't employees either. So I do believe wording is careful.
I agree. I think that the wording should be on there, because I would like to be held accountable if I'm driving a county vehicle. If I'm driving a county vehicle and I crash, besides being, that's, don't you think? I mean, if I'm driving a county vehicle and I get in a car accident, I should be held accountable, and I need to follow the same policies that the other employees have to follow. I don't think that just because I'm an elected, I should be held above the
We
law.
don't word it correctly.
Yeah, the
Like,
report is
we need to protect our employees and we need to protect the fire department
in the county.
and the county
Yeah, just-
essentially. But do it the word in the right way. 'Cause
Correct.
It's,
Did you know that you had to take a defensive driving course?
If it's an elected official involved in an accident and there's serious injuries, you know, and we're not, and they're exempt from following the employee policy as it stands right now, then we could be subject to liability.
I agree with him. There's so many little legal nuances when you have a policy that's so vague as the one that we have. I mean, it's just very vague. So what I'm going to request is that we table this item, but we need to get together, Mr. Ortiz and Mr. Pereira and our county attorney, so that we can get the exact verbiage, so that we have it on the policy to include elected officials, to include the fire department and county employees.
Reserve deputies.
And reserve deputies, thank you.
Judge, on a note, what if it's after hours? Do we take the hospital or?
So we've had that incident already, in which we had an accident after hours, and as long as we can get them to the hospital, we're working with the hospital. I think we took care of it already, to where the hospital, we have a contract to where they can do it there if it's after hours. If not during hours, you have A1 Dependable and you have South Texas Rural Health. And as it stands, since we will table this item, God forbid if an accident occurs from here to next Commissioner's Court, make sure that you stress that they have to take a defensive driving course as well. That's part of the policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.32, discussion and appropriate action to approve equipment surplus list for auction.
It was included in your package.
I don't see it, Mr. Pereira. She says no.
It was also emailed to you all last week.
But we had it.
We emailed it to you last week also.
No, I didn't get one. I didn't get one. If you emailed it.
What was added, additional added?
There wasn't anything added to it. It was the same list.
So the same list that
Yes.
we got
No,
last
a
week?
zero turn. No.
But it was already, that was already added to it from last list.
Okay. Make sure. I did it. Okay.
So there is no other corrections?
Go ahead.
You know what I'm gonna say, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, I did.
I know I sound like a man today, but I'm very much a woman, Mr. Pereira. Let's put it on the record. Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Urenda. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.3, discussion and appropriate action, approve contract with Southern Software and Intech for conversion of files to be transferred to the current sheriff software, Intech old system, Southern new system.
This will provide for the current system to be able to access all the records under the Intech. As you recall, last year we had to extend the contract with Intech in order for us to be able to pull the information from Intech for our Southern software. We've already talked to them. They're going to convert all the information that Intech has right now into the Southern software, and so we will no longer need Intech or going into another program to get old information. So this will update it. It'll all be in Southern software.
Will this also,
And we tried to do it from the grant, but they said no, that this is a general,
but is this coming out of the IT from the sheriff's budget?
yes,
line item?
it is coming from the sheriff's department. And there's a budget amendment there was a small difference, and we have the budget adjustment in Commissioner's Court today.
And let me ask you this question, because I know that Judge Bettis asks this every time she comes before the court. Will this alleviate or solve her issue between the Intech and,
There was still one, but this is separate. This is
just
separate.
press the button, Sheriff. There you go.
There is another Intech, and I had talked to them, and I need to bring it back to Commissioner's Court. I'll do it in the next meeting, but this is only for the sheriff's office, and this will also help. It'll help the JPs because anything that's on there will not be on this one.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Carmona, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Odena, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Law enforcement, 3.4.1, approval to purchase 911 weed supplies using the sheriff's forfeiture account.
This material would be going to the schools doing presentations, just we have nothing to give out to the kids. It's want to use material from positive promotion so that we can use for the schools, any events we have.
And just for the record, to piggyback off of Sheriff Castañeda, he does have the full funds in his forfeiture account, and additionally, as per Chapter 59, which is a forfeiture, that addresses the forfeiture and seizures, this is an allowable cost. Motion by Commissioner Noguera,
Second.
second by Commissioner Urenda. This will be of no cost to the county for the record. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 4.2, discussion and appropriate action, approval to purchase one police Dodge Durango using the sheriff's forfeiture account.
This judge, last month I came with a PO and the Selena generated. We were awarded from 2021 OPSG grant for 2 vehicles. When it got to Washington, they said it couldn't be used for vehicles, it was for something else. So I was gonna see if I could buy one of those vehicles from the forfeiture account in the amount of $45,495, and the other one from the 2023 grant. Because the vehicles are already there in San Antonio. When they said we could order them, they were ordered, and they're in Bernie right now. They're the same ones that were approved last month.
Sure, can you say the other 2023
I was gonna
grant?
say.
Which one is that?
That's the Operation Stone
Stone
Garden
Garden.
this year.
So Sheriff, this is just my opinion, the commissioners can vote as they wish, but I have no problem with this one. Obviously, it comes out of your forfeiture account, it's an allowable cost, and it's gonna be of no cost to Dimmit County. In regards to the other one, there is no agenda item regarding that, so
No, I didn't put it on the agenda
Okay,
till, I would get with Selena on that one.
Okay, I was just saying, so we can't approve that one, but
Yeah, I'll put it for the next one.
any questions? I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Uranda. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I have a... No, I didn't, I'm coughing, I apologize. Just for clarification purposes, the backup that Sheriff Castaneda gave us shows a total amount of $90,990, but this approval is just reflective, of half of that for one item, correct, Sheriff?
That's correct.
Okay,
45,495.
thank you. No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 4.3, discussion and appropriate action, approval for reimbursement for Sheriff Chris Castaneda for attending the Alert 3312 77 minutes left to bang class on April 15, 2024 in Edinburgh, Texas.
This one was short notice. I got the email. I didn't have time to put it on the agenda request for just the hotel stay. They fed us during that day, so I don't need for the meals. It'd just be for the hotel reimbursement. But it's a mandatory class. It's for elected officials, supervisors. That's the first class that the state put on.
Any questions?
Motion.
I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 4.4, discussion appropriate action, jail status.
Can we table that one? Ms. Montes is training all this week.
Now, entertain a motion to table by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Uranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff.
Judge, also I included the last 2 months. I put them up on the reports. I didn't do them the last 2 months I was out.
Oh, yes. I'll go ahead and have Ms. Hernandez add the sheriff's report and the jail report for the next meeting.
Okay.
And we'll hold on to these for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. 5.1, discussion and appropriate action, budget adjustment number 37 within the county attorney department.
Your Honor, I'm back here on my Senate Bill 22, a little frustrated. Apparently, the support documents were for 11 months, then I was told it would go down to 6 months, now I'm told it's 5 months, and that Ms. Pinto would provide that. I've hired one employee through this Senate Bill 22. He's not getting paid what you had approved, the $34,000 with benefits, $49,934.06. And I've held back in hiring another employee. I've had at least one application, and I've talked to a possible investigator coming on. But if this doesn't get cleared up and I can't spend this money, I'm going to be requesting the county send this money back. And then I'm talking to the state senator who published it, and I'm talking to the comptroller's office saying, hey, we couldn't get it right, and that's going to be embarrassing. I need to get this cleared up.
So what he's proposing on this budget amendment is that instead of doing it over a 1-year period, it would be over a 6-month period.
No, Mr. Pereira, you told me a 5-month period when I met with you last week. Come on, get it straight.
5 months
For both employees.
for both employees, correct?
And it's 5 months because it's the remainder of the year.
Correct.
So they will be getting paid $34,000 in 5 months.
Well, Bobby's already been paid based on the 11th-month period for one paycheck. So if he hasn't been getting the correct amount. Now, I just want to make it clear, it's got to be okay with the treasurer's office also, because if we don't get this straight, he won't pay it. And I've got an employee complaining that, sir, this is not what you offered me. And he won't do the payroll correctly until we get the figures right for the auditor's office.
Correct.
My concern was that originally it was for the whole year, so I paid it based on the whole year. As long as it comes through Commissioner's Court and you only want to pay it through the remainder of the year, then that's fine.
So essentially what you're saying is that if they pay it in a 5-month period or 6-month period, that would reflect in a sense that he's not going to get paid $13 an hour, he's going to get paid way more.
Correct.
Like 30-something now.
And what happens after those 6 months expire?
Well, it depends on the budget, if I get approved for another position or I get another grant for Senate 22, if they remain employed with my office or not. And I'm telling these people that I only have this money for a certain period of time. And they
So
may not have a job.
if the SB 22 doesn't come back for October, you're saying you want to ask for them to get paid $36 an hour?
No, I'm saying that I would have
Just,
to-
you want it now, $36 an hour
I
now?
have no choice, or I lose the money. You know, if that's not gonna be approved, if it seems too much for Commissioner's Court, then what am I doing applying for grants? You know, it opened up in January, I applied, I got the $100,000, and I just wanna be able to use this money, so, and God forbid, I need the assistance. Estella's out, and then.
So now the reason for this was because you weren't able to hire somebody before to spread out the money. Now you're so close to the end of this budget that you have to expedite or push the money forward.
That's not totally correct. The grant came in
January.
All right, so come the budget, last budget, I requested another position. Mr. Perez said, okay, now I know how to fix it. Well, since you have an extra position, I said, no, I don't. I don't have another full-time position. Then he said, we can supplement that salary. But I don't have another full-time position in my budget. So I couldn't do it that way. He said, okay, let me think about it some more. You know, either we're gonna use the money or I'm sending it back. And I gotta let one employee go because I don't have the money to pay him.
No, you have the money to pay him. There's no reason to send him back because the money is there. The only issue right now is that you're trying to pay him the $34,000 on a max of 5 months, period, which will make him at 36 or $35 an hour. That is the issue right now. Because at the $44,000, it should have been $16.35 for the year. But he was not hired earlier. He was hired not too long ago. We were awarded in January the grant. So those months were delayed. We're starting from May to September before the fiscal year is over. That's why I'm assuming Mr. Pereira is saying 5 months.
We didn't get the money until March, ma'am.
Okay, well, you said it was awarded January. You got approved.
Well, I applied in January.
Okay, and it got awarded in March. So you hired your new employee. When was he hired?
March 9th?
March 9th, that's when you hired him?
Yes. As soon as we got the money. And then,
That's when you, last Commissioner's Court, you came to Commissioner's Court to pay them the $34,000 which was awarded. We approved the $34,000, which would have been $16.35 an hour. Then Mr. Pereira, or you guys, I'm not sure where all that happened, was moved to 5 months. So
No.
my question is, do you want to pay him those $34,000 in 5-month period? Or just, as we always do it, 26 pay periods, divided by the 80?
No, the deal was, when we did the original budget estimate, it was done over a 12-month period, so the 2,080 hours. So now what we're saying is, he's reducing it to end by September 30th.
that was always the goal. I had to use the money by September 30th, and that's what I told this Commissioners Court when I came to hire 2 individuals. That hasn't changed. You know, the support information provided me to the auditor went from 11 months now to 6 months, and last week to 5 months, so that I can use this money and don't have to return it. So that was our last conversation. You know, if you reduce it to 5 months, and the treasurer was there in that conversation. And that was the conversation. I'm just trying to get it clarified so I can use this money and not have to send it back.
I'm sorry, but I was in the understanding it was a year, because that's what we did, the 34,000. That's why I agreed on it. Because it was a year, for the year. But since I'm assuming it changed, I'm not sure when, but it changed to 5 months now, and I'm assuming it was for the reason being that the fiscal year ends in September. Is that correct, Mr. Pereira?
The grant specifically says September 30th it ends.
That's when our fiscal year
Yeah.
ends as well.
So I just haven't been able to get the correct support documents on how they're to be paid from the auditor's office. And so my treasurer can pay the employee what he's supposed to be paid under the grant.
If you don't get a grant, October 1st, when the new fiscal year starts,
They're out of a job.
is your employees are aware of that?
Yes, ma'am. I had to
Well,
make them
one
aware of that.
employee, he only has one employee.
Yeah, I have to let them know up front. It's not fair to them.
And if you send somebody back, will that affect?
Will it affect future grants? I can't tell you. This is the first time it's being offered now. This was passed by the last legislature for rural prosecutors. And they're still working on new rules. They had a meeting in Livingston last week just to try to iron out some of these issues. And there's supposed to be new rules posted by the comptroller's office, and I haven't seen them yet.
Well, I don't see a reason why it would affect this, because it is not our fault and it's not your fault that you got it approved till March. And then they only made it to where September 31st it ends. So technically, it's not our fault and it shouldn't matter. My thing is, 34th, the money doesn't matter because it's a grant, but the dollar amount to pay the individuals.
I'm just trying to break it down. And when I asked for the figures to employees, I was provided these figures by the auditor's office. And that's what it came out to. I have no control over that. I want to do it correctly and make sure that the employee I hire, you know, gets what he's entitled to under the grant. See, I don't have the luxury of what the constables and the sheriff department had, where they got to supplement their employees' salaries at $45,000, because I didn't have an extra position. And that's what Mr. Pettit was proposing. I don't have that. I can't do it that way. You know, where I would have started paying them at the beginning of the budget year, knowing that I might get a grant, and then if I didn't get the grant, then the county was subject to that paying the salary for the rest of the budget year.
So you only have one secretary? Mr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, I've only hired one person because I can't get this cleared up since March 9th when I hired that other individual.
He has Miss Estela, he has Ruby, and now he has Bobby. Correct?
Yeah, and Estella's out with knee surgery, so until I hired Bobby, I only had Ruby.
So you have two. And the additional one is due to the grants.
Right. Now, had Estella still been on, I could have used
So-
some of that money for the Victims Assistance Program and increased her salary. That would have supplemented her salary the way he suggested.
So this amount, Mr. Gonzalez, is the 34,000, it says here for a clerk and 34,000 for an investigator?
Yes, I can hire either one. I've got an application for,
No, because the reason why I'm asking is because you want to move the 100,000, get a budget adjustment, and it says clerk, 34,000, then it says clerk/prosecutor/investigator for 34,000 plus fringe benefits. So currently, right now, you have one already that you're paying out of this.
right,
So then the additional amount is so you can hire another person, whether it be a clerk, a prosecutor, or an investigator.
right,
But you're requesting for that amount to be paid at $35, $36 an hour because of the time frame.
right.
So if,
That's what was suggested by the auditor to clear it up.
other questions?
Judge, I have a question I have to ask. In moving 100,000, so the grant's not gonna cover?
No, this 100,000 is,
Money we received already.
Money.
You received already, so it's grant money.
Right. That He's gonna open up an account.
Okay.
Mr. Ortiz is gonna open up an account to call that money in so that he keeps track of it. I just need some closure one way or the other, and then I'll handle what I need to handle. And that's not only with this grant, I'll handle what I have to do with other business or the other grants too.
well, I don't know, I don't think, I mean, are you threatening to pull the other grants? Because we don't approve this?
It's a possibility, Hunter.
That's pretty sad, Mr. Gonzalez.
It is. When I can't get my own grant money and spend it, it's very sad. And the court is fully aware that I've already returned my laptop and surrendered my funds for LGS because of the way that 23 grants being run. So I'm not hiding anything. I'm done. You make the decision.
One of the things that also is that he, basically, whatever he gets under SB 22 going forward, that would be on him. And so however distribute, however much he gets, he would be limited to that amount. So if he gets another 100,000, he would be limited to 100,000 also for a 12-month period.
That's what the following.
For the plus.
So that
Yeah,
But then that would change their pay rate.
Right.
And that's the thing, so that if, right now, they're getting paid, they would be getting paid $32, $35 an hour. If he gets 100,000 for next year, they would be getting paid at $13 an hour.
Correct.
It would
Yeah.
go under the budget next year.
Yes.
I have to,
So that's what I'm saying, he'd be limited to whatever he gets next year.
Right.
So if this is over a 12-month period, that is his deal.
And then
And
I'll
there's,
just make that's the employee's decision I just take because they're not making what they're making the first time. You know, if I get the grant and then it opens up for the new budget year, then there's less pay next year. That's
and they're
not a
aware of that.
question.
They're aware of that. I mean, that's ultimate.
Also, just to be aware, under the Department of Labor, if your employee is working with the grant at a higher pay, they earn any comp time, and then their pay rate goes down, it still has to be the average of what they were making then and then what they're going down. So that's also something to be careful of.
Get you started on contact.
I'm just making everybody aware.
You don't need to get upset, Mr. Gonzalez. We're all trying to,
You can understand my frustration. I'm the only one that can't use his grant money, and, you know, the court's got grant money, and she spends it as freely as she wishes. You know, why can't I? You know, that's my frustration. You know, we've talked to Selena, and she said, you're right, Mr. Gonzalez, you know, you spend it or you lose it.
I know, but you're getting upset at the court. This is what our HR and our auditor are saying, and you're upset at what they're saying. You're getting mad at us. You want to pull OLS. OLS is going to affect the sheriffs more than anybody, not my court or anybody else. I mean, it's going to affect the
That's the
sheriffs.
last department I want to affect. That's the only reason I haven't done it. It's not like I haven't done it before. Don't push my buttons.
It's
Are
gonna
you-
affect the sheriff
are you-
and the county. It's gonna affect the county in general.
Yeah, because then we'll have to pay back.
Yes.
So,
I don't have a problem, because it's a grant and it's gonna end in September.
right.
I don't have a problem. I just don't like the fact that you're here learning that you're gonna approve or call to cancel OLS.
All right, make your decision. I'm letting Bobby know that today's his last day. Thank you.
That's not what we said, Mr. Gonzalez, that's what
We
you're
haven't made a
saying.
decision.
No, we're not done yet.
Well, I'm kind of waiting. Make a
Well,
decision.
then step out if you like, but we've told you, we're not the ones agreeing. Nobody has agreed that today is his last day. That's coming from your mouth, not
Listen
ours.
up, because I can't get this
No,
approved.
we're not done yet.
Well, let's get it done. There's no reason why you're making it
This
so
happens
difficult.
every year with you. Every year is the same thing. You get upset, you run out.
I don't have to run on now.
No, you walk, you run, it doesn't matter, but you leave. You
It's
always,
not making any sense.
you make it seem like we're the ones doing it. It's not us,
Yes,
it's you.
well, let's
We're
get it
trying to
done. What's the
decide what
problem?
We're gonna do what's right.
All right, you
Don't
know,
come in here and say, oh, I'm gonna get rid of, and I'm gonna call the state and get rid of this. No, it doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect him, it's gonna affect the
the
whole
entire county. I'm aware
Yes,
of that.
The whole county.
All right,
So why would you do that? You're an elected official.
correct.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I would do
My
it
thing was,
with,
I was gonna agree, I was.
well, don't,
It's
it's your
a
decision.
grant. No, I'm not done yet. It's a grant. The money is there. Whether or not it
That's that
ends
simple.
in September, whether it ends or not, it's not my fault, it's not your fault. That's the way the state said it. That's why I'm asking questions, because I want to get it correctly. That's why when I asked and I called the judge's office, I need my binder, I need to make sure I do my research before I come and sit here. Before you come and tell us, well, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. No, I'm trying to get it correctly, what we need to do.
And I want you to do it correctly,
happen.
Commissioner. It's just, my frustration is not with you or this court, it's with the auditor's office, can't give me the right figures so I can present it to
It
y'all.
seems the frustration is with our court. You stumble and you yell at us, there's no need to. I mean,
I'm not stumbling, I'm not yelling, ma'am. It doesn't make any sense. It's a simple decision, yes or no.
we haven't, we're gonna decide, I'm only one vote. I can't speak for the other ones. That's why I'm asking my questions.
Well, you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I already asked what I needed to ask.
But that's the thing, that she's asking you questions, you're getting offended, you're getting upset. It's just questions that we're asking, because we don't,
How many meetings do I have to have with the auditor's office and the treasurer's office trying to get this right? You know, it's not right. I shouldn't have to do this.
no, and I agree with you, but you're coming in here and you're threatening us and you're yelling at us and you're saying that you're gonna pull OLS and that you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna
I'll do
leave.
what I have to do to do the
I know,
best of my
Mr. Gonzalez,
department.
but as an elected official, you shouldn't be threatening us that you're gonna pull OLS and affect the county. You're the elected official.
We were threatened all the time in the past, we'll cut your budget, you know.
Okay, but that was the ex-Judge Ponce. I'm not Frank Ponce, and I'm not here to threaten you to cut your budget, and I'm not gonna cut your budget. I didn't come here, that's not what I came here, and I'll put it on the record. I'm not Frank Ponce, and I'm not gonna threaten you to cut your budget. I'm gonna do what's right, and if the right thing to do is to pay $32 to your employees only, so that you can produce numbers for Dimmit County, then that's what we'll do, because that
That
man's
was
sitting
good,
over
I'm sorry.
there. That man sitting over there, because Mr. Gonzalez, you come here, you're yelling at Commissioner Lucava,
No.
you're yelling at Commissioner Urenda, you're threatening to leave, you're threatening to pull less.
You
The
can't
sheriff-
make a simple decision, fine, I'll leave.
Nobody's asking about a simple decision. She's asking questions. She was the one asking questions because she wants to know, and she's entitled, as the elected official of Commissioner's Court, to ask those questions. The problem that I have is that you're threatening to pull oil less, and to me that matters because the sheriff's office just bought 4 vehicles, $310,000 worth of vehicles from a grant, and you
That's
pull
the
that
reason
letter,
I wouldn't do
we
it,
have to
Your Honor.
pay.
We need the vehicles.
You just said you're gonna pull it if we don't approve this. So now at this point, you're using your office to threaten us for us to approve this. If not, you're gonna pull the letter. That's the problem I have. I don't have a problem
Right.
doing this.
Then don't decide, Your Honor. Yeah, to me, it's fine. I know not to apply for grants in the future. If I can't get
Mr. Gonzalez,
I can't get the right figures from the auditor's office, why am I applying for grants?
I understand and I want you to keep applying for grants. I'm all about grants. It's free money. Why not? Reduce this
Exactly.
taxpayers' money so that the taxpayers don't have to pay from the general budget and we use county. But what I'm saying is that you stand here and you threaten to pull different grants that need your authority or your approval because Mr. Pereira or Mr. Ortiz can't get it right.
And Your Honor, if I do that, it's gonna be for a valid reason. And I guarantee you, I could find valid reasons right now for some grants. So, don't push me.
See, there you go again with your threats. If you're gonna do it, Mr. Gonzalez. Don't
If I
stand there
have
and
to, Your
threaten.
Honor, but I'm not
And
gonna
then
hurt
you
the
can
sheriff
stand
department.
here and be accountable to the
I
constituents of
have no
Dimmit
problem
County
being
as to
accountable
why.
to the constituents, Your Honor. No
Okay,
problem at
then
all.
you can explain to
Because
them why you want to pull the
when
permit.
it gets exposed, there's gonna be more citizens or more elected officials hurt than anything else.
Let's go, we're already wanting to have to hire an attorney for him, so
Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
whatever needs to be
for
done.
the remaining of the year, it'll be 3269 more or less.
More or less.
That's what I got, 3269.
Because we can't go back and pay him for what's already happened, we can only go
Forward.
forward.
So it'll be 4 from this pay period on.
Yes.
So this will be like a one-time only,
Yeah, until.
paying that the grant is.
Until September 30th.
Right, but if the grant comes back around, then they're gonna be paid
They would have to.
They would get paid less.
less.
If it comes back, if it goes back to the same amount, 100 grand, he would only, they would about $16, $17.
But the problem is that Mr. Ortiz is saying that we have to be careful because of the labor laws in doing that. That's what he's saying. Because we're going from 32 to 16 in the same position, and that's why he's saying we have to be careful. And I suppose that's why you were having an issue with getting this done for Mr. Gonzalez.
Well,
No.
that was the
No.
only reason.
Oh, that was not the only reason, sorry, Mr. Gonzalez.
That reason just came up today.
I didn't know about it.
I didn't either.
When you brought it, basically, we were doing it over a 1-year period.
But
And that's why I did it over one, because I assumed the salary
Well, we
was over
tried.
a year.
But if I heard you
The adjustment is
correctly,
1-year period.
it's only if it puts, if the employee earns,
Compact.
comp time. Other than that, it stays with it, what it's supposed to be.
That's my problem, it's been you say "we" and,
Okay,
yeah, you keep blaming me for something I didn't do when it wasn't never for a 1-year period. All the paperwork I gave you, and I called you on the phone and said, no, it's correct.
okay.
And then you come back and say, oh, no, we need to do another budget amendment. Yeah, I'm frustrated.
I can understand.
I can't get an employee paid correctly. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, I get upset because I got an employee that, it was approved at the 34,000 plus the benefits pursuant to the figures he gave me. He says, just file your budget amendment, I'll take care of the figures. Thank God. All right, it's done. No, it's not done. No, it's not correct. Oh, well, you didn't do it correctly. You did the figures. Why are you blaming me now? No, then the last time it's like, oh, we may have to do it 2 or 3 more times. No, I don't want to do this 2 or 3 more times, put it on the agenda and come out here and not get it done. Our last conversation was 5 months. That'll solve the problem. And I'm sorry that the figures are high. I can't control that.
Yeah, but
Just the fact that you come here and try and threaten us that you will take all of us away, that's where we have, oh, I can't speak for the rest, but I'm speaking for myself.
ma'am,
That's where I have the issue.
I understand that, but you're not seeing the issues I'm seeing.
No, I've worked with grants before and I know if you don't use them, you either they go away, or the next year you don't get the same funding, you get less. That's my only concern.
Well,
But my thing is, if we're gonna pay the individual $32.69 or whatever the dollar amount is, it ends September 30th. And he needs to be aware that it ends September 30th. If you don't get funded, that's
that's
it.
not your fault, that's not my fault, I don't get funded, he's out of a job. And the other
For the
reason,
record, we didn't say that we were gonna let go of the individual today. That was.
no, that was me.
That was you.
If this could not get straight out, I have no choice. Why am I gonna be using taxpayers' money if I'm not gonna be able to use this grant money? That's the whole deal.
Sheriff, always. Step forward, please.
Mr. Perez, scoot over, please.
How much does OLS affect you if it was to be terminated?
Mainly we for the vehicles or dispatchers, jailers get the overtime. Deputies don't get the overtime from all of this. But it's, we got vehicles, our dispatcher has overtime, and jailers have overtime.
So will it affect all that?
Yes. That helps us, for the jailers, it helps us with transporting, we got transports in Del Rio, pick up the boards,
And supplies.
supplies. Well, we got 4 laptops also. Right.
Judge, my motion is to approve it under the understanding that whoever he hires or if he's already hired knows that as of September 30th, that's it. If he doesn't get the funding, and if he does, October 1st, the dollar amount of his pay or her pay will be precisely less, reduced. Not because we want to, but that's the way the grant states it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Noguera,
Second.
second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Further discussion? All in favor? Yes.
On the two, so then he can hire another prosecutor,
Prosecutor, clerk, or investigator?
or is it bid off the same, is it two or is it just one?
No, he's asking for 2. It's for clerk, and then the second position is clerk, prosecutor, or investigator.
The clerk already had that.
But he still has he has the option to decide whether he wants another clerk, a prosecutor, or an investigator.
Just don't, I appreciate it, Commissioner, I just don't think that it's gonna get straightened out over here.
Well, that's where we'll have to keep Mr. Ortiz and Mr. Pereira accountable. As you very well know, Mr. Gonzalez, we are not Mr. Pereira's bosses. He is directly under the direction of the district judges. So I would highly recommend that you give your concerns to the 2 district judges.
I have, it has not worked.
I'm sorry, this is the decision of the court. Well, there's a motion on the table, there's a second, and we have advised the gentleman to the left that this is the decision, and if Mr. Ortiz and Mr. Pereira still don't do it, I would highly recommend for you to go ahead and put it back on the agenda, and we'll question them at that time again, for accountability purposes.
And if I have to put it back on the agenda, it's to refund this money. It's plain and simple.
He'll put it back on the agenda to refund the money.
We gotta be able to, our county's gotta be able to get it straight. How long does it go? The grant's gonna be over before we get it straight? Doesn't make any sense.
We need to make a little better job at working together. I feel that. I know we're gonna disagree, with all due respect, we have to disagree. But we really need to do a better job of, work together for the sake of our county, because that's where the money is gonna get lost.
Correct.
Not mine. I respect everybody's opinion, but
I don't want the money coming out of the county's coffers. That's why I applied for the grant. That's why I support OLS. But when issues come out, and I am basically giving my support and they're not done correctly, I'm gonna voice my opinion. And Commissioner, with all due respect, you know that the grant's gotta be followed to the T. And if they're not, we're in trouble. We've already refunded $38,000 in the past. I don't want that to happen again.
It's not our fault.
It was our fault last
That
time.
it was awarded late.
No, it's not this
He's
grant.
talking about the
Right.
OMS grant money y'all returned, that it was y'all's fault, is what he's saying.
From that.
No, it was, they didn't keep proper accounting at the sheriff's office. They didn't have the support documents for that grant. And it wasn't all LS, it was a Stone Garden.
For the record, Judge, we don't know, us Commissioners Courts, we don't know when he meets with Mr. Pereira, but they did discuss, we just know when they come to Commissioners Court what's going on. After that, and before that, we don't know what's going on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.2, discussion and appropriate action, budget adjustment within Road and Bridge Precinct 4.
Judge, is to move, funding from Union Road to bricks and supplies.
I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Odena, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.3, discussion and appropriate action, budget adjustment number 41 within sanitation department.
Judge, we have 4 trash trucks. 3 of them are used on a daily basis. They're old trucks. They're breaking down. I was equipped to purchase 2 new ones, but we can't get them until maybe next year.
I'm looking at the 5.3, Commissioner. Oh, that's for the maintenance and repair equipment.
Yes.
Sorry, I was reading the wrong.
I've exhausted my funding for maintenance and repair on the vehicles. We need to fix, we have 2 trucks that are down. We were able to fix one. I don't want to say temporary, but we did our best. We have to take these trucks to San Antonio where they're specialized in diesel, and it costs an arm and a leg. So I'm moving funding of those items to maintenance and repair equipment. Hopefully it doesn't exceed, but it'll last before the end of the fiscal year.
Any questions? I entertain a motion by Commissioner Odena, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.4, discussion and appropriate action, budget adjustment within the Metro Department.
We're moving funding, Judge, $4,000 for operating supplies and the CDL licensing. There used to be CDL licenses for the mechanics, but this past year it was taken off, so we're putting it back. One of the mechanics has a CDL license. And we had 2 trucks, 2 tractor trailers that broke down, he was one that drove.
That's just to get him licensed to get a CDL.
No, to pay for the CDL, the additional pay. He has a CDL license.
Oh, you're saying this is for salary?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion.
That's how you need to put yours, Commissioner Odena, because that's how they did it on this one. To increase for the CDL.
Right, because the Metro doesn't have any CDL drivers, and so that's the first one that she hired, and so that's why we're included in there.
It's only 1,000 for the remainder, 5 months.
5 months.
And it's divided by the number of remaining months.
Okay, thank you. I'll motion it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.5, discussion and appropriate action, budget adjustment number 43 within Road and Bridge Precinct 1.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
5.6, discussion and appropriate action, budget adjustment within the utility department.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Valerie Rubalcaba, second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.7, discussion appropriate action, budget adjustment within the arena department. So moved by Commissioner Rubalcaba, second by Commissioner
Second.
Alonso. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.8, discussion appropriate action budget adjustment within the golf course department. Motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba. I will second that. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.9, discussion appropriate action, budget adjustment number 47 within the fire department. Motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba. Second by Commissioner Urenda. All in favor? Motion carries. 5.10, discussion appropriate action, budget adjustment within the sheriff's department. Motion by Commissioner Urenda, second by Commissioner Alonso.